for taking even controversial matters in his stride. Mabuza died at a Sandton hospital yesterday at the age of 64. As the leader of government business, he was expected to crack the whip on errant ministers who did not answer MPs' questions in time or failed to show up at the committee meetings. But after 5 years in the House, Mabuza resigned on his own terms. Lindsay Dentlinga takes a look.
David Mabuza was last seen in Parliament in February when he attended the State of the Nation address held in the Cape Town City Hall. Mabuza's interaction with Parliament was largely through quarterly question time in both houses. From his very first Q&A, Mabuza seldom appeared rattled by the tough questions, even when quizzed about political assassinations in his home province of Mpumalanga.
We must avoid a situation where we go around casting aspersions against people without any due process.
Mabuza was also quick to defend his party comrades when their conduct put them on the wrong side of the law.
We don't have a dustbin where we throw people. We correct people, we move with them.
His leave of absence from official duty and his hospitalization in Russia in 2021 also did not escape parliamentary interrogation.
No money was paid by the South African government towards my treatment.
When the writing was on the wall that he planned to step down in early 2023, it was President Cyril Ramaphosa who confirmed the reports during the SONA debate, raising a glass of water from the podium to salute him.
I would like to thank him for the work that he has done for this nation and for all of us. DP, cheers.
Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Former President Thabo Mbeki says it's good that DA Federal Council Chairperson Helen Zille is showcasing her arrogant and contemptuous view of South African people. Zille is not spared in Mbheki's scathing open letter to DA leader John Steenhuizen. The 11-page salvo follows the DA's announcement that it will not participate in the national dialogue, which Zille describes as an ANC election campaign strategy. Sidi Madia has more.
Former President Thabo Mbeki, who's a champion of the national dialogue, has placed DA Federal Council Chair Helen Zille in his crosshairs. He's lambasted Zille for what he's termed a fertile imagination for her claims that the dialogue is an ANC 2026 election campaign and an ANC-run national dialogue. In seeking to demystify the confusion, Mbeki has in a long letter set out how the dialogue came about, emphasizing the need for political parties, the ANC in particular, to have no role in guiding the conversations. The former president does, however, say it's good that Helen Zille has openly made her remarks, showing her arrogance and contempt towards South Africa's masses by suggesting they cannot think and plan their own future without the DA. Mbeki also questioned why the DA remained in the GNU, even signing the statement of intent when Zille has been so vocal in her opposition of it. Sidi Madia, Eyewitness News.
The qualifications of information communications technology expert Dr. Vincent Mello and his ability to comment on emojis and legal linguistics have been called into question before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. This as evidence leader advocate Salome Skeepers begins her cross-examination of the second witness to be called by the legal team for Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. Mello testified in the emojis used in the online exchanges between Mbenenge and High Court Secretary Andiswa Mengo in the misconduct probe against the judge president in Sandton in Johannesburg. Mengo accuses the senior judge of making unwanted sexual advances towards her between 2021 and 2022. And in May, forensic and legal linguistic Zachariah Dokrat testified that the judge sent emojis that had sexual connotations to the junior employee, and Mello has been called in Mbenenge's defense to discredit that testimony. However, the Skeepers quizzed the ICT specialist on his eligibility to comment on the matter.
You're not an expert in forensic legal linguistics, is that correct?
Yes, and Chair, in response to that is that the emoji aspect that in discussion.
Chair, can I just stop you there? It's a yes or no question. You are not an expert in forensic legal linguistics, is that correct?
Yes, I'm not.
You are not an expert in semiotics of law, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Gold is trading at $3,339.46 an ounce. The rand is at 17.49 to the dollar, 23.92 to the pound, 20.61 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.69 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we still have got delays on the N1 South. This is just as you head towards Rivonia via the N1 South. Delays coming out of the Baku interchange. That's due to an accident while traveling on the N12 and R24 West, queuing traffic between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Former Deputy President David Mabuza's time in Parliament will be remembered for taking even controversial matters in his stride.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for being with us here on 702 on this first Friday of the month of July. I hope your week has been great and I hope your weekend will be even greater. Are you going to be resting actually this weekend? Will you be traveling? What are you planning to do? What's your plan? Or are you going to the Durban July? I just saw a video of my cousins arriving in Durban. They've just landed in Durban because they are attending the Durban July. I've got cousins who love the Durban July. Like every single year they go. And I wonder if Durban July actually is still a thing. Is it still like a big deal? Like, do people still get excited and plan for it and you look forward to it? I even forget sometimes that it exists until, of course, I read the papers or when I see on television that it's taking place. I've never been, but I know there are many people who enjoy it. They look forward to it. You know, more people look forward to the fashion and the parties and the actual horse racing, which is also fine. So is Durban July still a big event? Anyone? Have you been? Are you going? What do you go to Durban July for, if you've ever been? Why have you never wanted to go, if you've never been? I'm just curious. 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. It's Friday, and you know what we do every Friday? We do Gratitude Friday. This is where you can tell us this hour or send us a WhatsApp voice note and tell us what you are grateful for this week. What happened this week that reminded you how blessed you are? That put a smile on your face. What do you think of the letter that the former President Thabo Mbeki, the open letter, he's written to the DA? He's quite scathing on his characterization of Helen Zille and her comments, and really heavily criticizes the DA's decision to withdraw from the national dialogue. Particularly the point that the DA has made, that this is just an opportunity for the ANC to steal. And Thabo Mbeki meticulously explains to the Democratic Alliance how the national dialogue was formed and who's been behind it. And he basically thinks that they're jumping the gun here. They're being ridiculous by just thinking this is an ANC project. What do you think of what Thabo Mbeki has had to say in that open letter? Also, David Mabuza, hey? Sad news coming through yesterday of his passing at the age of 64. He is being remembered as a patriot. His comrades are remembering him as a master tactician. He was known as the cat. A cat with 9 lives indeed, always slipping through the cracks of scandal and speculation. I found him interesting because he always had this calm demeanor about him. And some people made mistakes of thinking that he's weak politically, but my goodness, he outmaneuvered his political opponents. Many of us will remember the big move he pulled back in 2017 at the ANC conference. Do you remember that? When he switched allegiances in a serious political gamble that would honestly redefine the ANC. And that switching of allegiances would see President Cyril Ramaphosa elected president, as opposed to Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. One man who actually knows very well how tactical David Mabuza was is the former Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, who served with Mabuza on the ANC top 6. Remember, Magashule and Mabuza and Supra Mahumapelo were part of the Premier League. I asked Magashule last night about the role that Mabuza played in that conference in 2017 to bring about unity in the ANC.
What role did he play, particularly in 2017, to ensure that there is unity in the organization? Because at the time, there was campaigning that was becoming fierce. There were politicians in the ANC attacking each other. We came to know of what was known as the Premier League, referring to you and him as the Mpumalanga Premier and Supra Mahumapelo, who was the Premier in the Northwest. And he spoke a lot at that conference about the need for unity. What role did he play to try and push that unity he was speaking about, particularly at that conference?
Well, all of us were talking unity because you can't talk about Mabuza as an individual. Remember, it's us, and it is him who initiated the fact that we should actually go to Comrade Nkosazana Dlamini to make sure that we actually lobby her to become the president. It was at the initiative of Mabuza convincing us, and we all then approached Comrade Nkosazana, who was very reluctant, but we were able to persuade him. So as we went to the 2017 conference, all of us, including himself, we were agreeing. Things just changed there at conference. And all of us, we were just surprised, but that's the nature of politics.
Yeah, he surprised all of them because all along everybody thought we are pushing for Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma with this influential bloc we have. And then boom, David Mabuza said, I want to see unity. And some people actually called him a sellout. Listen to him, actually. He was clear even after that conference that he didn't sell anyone out. He just wanted to see unity in the ANC.
Did you sell anyone in Tanzania?
No, it's impossible. What do you think yourself?
I don't know.
You can't ask me something that you don't have an idea. I mean, it's very... I don't imagine how. In a conference of more than 5,000 people, do you think I know how these people, all of them, each one of them voted? It's impossible. Amen. I only preach for unity. And what prevailed, it's unity. That means the branch delegates heard my voice, heard my story to say, it looks like this person is making sense. Because if we did not go the way we went, probably we'll be talking about the ANC who's limping today.
Right? He says we would probably be talking about the ANC that's limping. And some people felt betrayed because, as a result of that move. Because, in fact, Ace Magashule, I remember reporting about this back in 2017. Ace Magashule was the first senior ANC leader to endorse David Mabuza for the position of deputy president. And for him to change things at that conference that would see Cyril Ramaphosa elected president was a betrayal to some of them. But hey, some people argued that they were betrayed, but others argued that the move that David Mabuza pulled actually saved this country. May his soul rest in peace. Condolences to his family and friends and comrades. How will you remember David Mabuza? You can share your tributes with us. At 10 o'clock, we're going to do the Across the Desk feature. And today I'm hosting young South Africans who work abroad. They will share their experiences with us. Why did they leave SA? What attracted them? How did they build their communities in the countries they've moved to? How did they adjust? How different is the working environment in those countries compared to ours? What do they do when they miss home? With someone in America, with someone in Amsterdam, someone in London, and someone in Dubai that are going to be joining us. And if you're a South African working abroad, I would like you to share your experience as well. At 11 o'clock, we do our relationship feature, and today we're discussing the importance of emotional maturity and regulation in relationships, right? Emotional maturity is crucial for building and sustaining healthy, fulfilling relationships. So how do you cultivate that? That's a chat on our relationship feature at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Yes, Clement, you and I both, man. I've also never been. I suppose we don't have new champagne or vodka or any of these brands to sell, man. I've always seen Durban July as that is the selling of opulence, people promoting their brands, and we all just go there and pretend we know horses. But I'm not going to talk bad on horses. It got me through varsity. My mom played horses, so I can probably tell people a lot about horses in China. It got me through school, but sadly I've never been. I would have loved to take her to the Durban July, but I know she will not enjoy it. Banin Prakpan, shap.
Good morning, Clement. Happy Friday. I'm hoping to have a rather restful weekend. I always work on weekends, writing opinion pieces, thought pieces, reading. So that's my life. I'm taking up golf. So I think I'll also go for a couple of golf lessons, hoping to play with you one day. And regarding the Durban July, so I stayed in KZN 2021 to 2022, and then moved again there last year. I've never been bothered by Durban July, and I mean this time I was close, very close. The tickets would be available, whatever, but I've never been interested in that. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought I should comment on that. Looking forward to the rest of the show and wishing you an amazing weekend. This is Lehlohonolo in Pretoria.
Lehlohonolo, an amazing weekend to you too. And we should play golf soon. I'm coming back. I have not been playing much golf lately. I mean, I've played here and there. But school has me by the legs or hands. This is radio. So school has me by the legs, man. So I haven't been playing a lot of golf, but I'm coming back. So we should play soon. I don't know. Durban July, I've been invited many times by, people who host these marquees, or even by the KZN. What's the government department that's responsible for it? I've been invited several times, but I've just never really, I don't know what, I mean, I'm not into horse betting, or into watching horses. So if I go there, what am I going to do? I don't know. Just have drinks and look great, I suppose. But I know a lot of people just love the vibe. They enjoy the vibe, which is also great. But it's just never been really my scene.
Good morning, Clement. Durban July, for me it's not my thing, but I guess we all have that sort of an event or a thing that we enjoy and we get something out of it. I don't even know what is the fastest horse breed, for heaven's sake. Okay, no, but I don't judge those who go there. This is Anonymous in Pretoria.
Yeah, Anonymous. I also don't judge anyone. I mean, I love going to the Nedbank Golf Challenge at Sun City, right? Some people probably think, but that's boring. You're just watching people play golf. So each of us have our own things. In fact, let me broaden this, because it's not just the Durban July or the Nedbank Golf Challenge. there are many events that used to be big that people still go to and some people don't go to anymore. Do you remember the Summer Awards? The South African Music Awards? That used to be a big deal. I've attended them like once, but also I was working at the time. So I went there because we were recording. I was working for a channel called One Gospel. I was a presenter of a show called, oh my God, what was the name of that show? Out and About. I was a presenter of a show called Out and About. So we were out and about at the Summer Awards once. Do you remember the Summer Awards, how big those were at the time? Joyous Celebration live recordings, who remembers that? I never used to miss the Joyous Celebration live recordings. Like that for me was the annual date. I have not been to Joyous Celebration live recordings anymore. And I have no doubt that they still get sold out. They're still big. I've just sort of lost interest in some way. What are those big events you used to attend and you still attend today? Or those you used to attend religiously but you don't attend anymore, and why? Right? As I say, I never used to miss Joyous Celebration live recordings because, my goodness, those were the days. Remember Back to the City? There was Mufftown Heights. Have you ever been to Mufftown Heights? The Rand Easter show was also, is there still a Rand Easter show? Because that was a big thing back in the day. Is it still a thing today? Does it still happen? What are those events for you that you still attend that were big? Why? And what are those that were big that you don't attend anymore? What's the reason for that? Let me know. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702. 22
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Tabi, so you're calling from Polokwane. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Sure. Wait, Tabi, do you guys have like big events in Polokwane? What's like?
I know
there's Makazi's event. What else?
Well, there is Mapingu in December. It used to be also big.
Yeah.
It's just that I think at some point it went down, but it's coming up.
But Makazi has these events now where she feels like...
I normally just pass there and see people moving up and down when I'm in Polokwane, and I see, the young folks being very, very excited about this thing.
Gotcha.
That's why they will fill that stadium to the brim. That shows that, but maybe they don't make it Clement, as you say. Certain things move with age, you know.
Yeah, with age, you're right.
You remember there used to be Maretele Jazz.
Yeah, yes. My God, yes.
It used to be so big to an extent. And Makufi, I mean, people would plan for these things in October.
Yeah.
They always go to Makufi and all of that. But if you look at Durban July, for an example, they've maintained it for many, many years. And it's a serious economic spin-off for that particular town.
It is, absolutely.
It just they make local people that get excited and knowing very well that they will sell this and that, hotels will be booked and all of that. And that's how the economy for ordinary folks, move and help each other.
Absolutely.
So that people spend, and I think it's a good move. It's a good move. Those that love it, let them go and support it.
All right, you want to talk about?
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, you called to talk about Thabo Mbeki. I just hijacked you there.
Yeah, Clement, there's a quote there. It says Vox Poli Vox Daily. It says, the word of the people is the word of God. Thabo Mbeki is quite very short in terms of summarizing things. I think it's an opportunity that arose as a result of the behavior of DA, just to let the people know exactly what is going to happen insofar as the national dialogue is concerned, and whether people of this country will be able to embrace it or not. And I think he also quoted the statement of intent, which the DA signed and they spoke about, participating in the national dialogue. I mean, the DA has been moving around telling us that the ANC is not respecting the statement of intent and all of that. Today, now we know quite very well that they are actually finding a way that they don't want to participate in anything that are geared to save this particular country. Because the question that was being asked and is always being asked was to say, what do we do from here? Because all of us admit, and I mean, in your show and many other shows, as I always insist, about the challenges that this country is facing. But the issue is always what do we do? about this particular challenge.
Yeah, and maybe the dialogue will answer that. Yeah, Tabiso and Polokwane, thank you for your contribution.
Good morning, Clement. To be honest, Clement, who cares about what Thabo Mbeki says? We are saying a lot of things with Ramaphosa, but he ended up campaigning for them after he told us he's not going to campaign for them. Now he's fighting for this national dialogue. He wants to be relevant. His time is up. He must just retire. His time is up. We can't listen to the Mbekis anymore. We are in this mess because of them. Mbeki is too overrated. They must just relax. They are bothering us now. ANC is no longer in power. They're 40%. You must deal a dialogue with the ANC on how did they get there. That's the dialogue they must have, not with us as South Africans. We're not for them. And he says there are people who are going to be chosen for this dialogue. They've already been chosen by his president, Ramaphosa, who he doesn't like anyway. They're just getting along for the sake of getting along. So they must not bother us, this ANC, African National Corruption. Sindile.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to all 702 listeners. Clement Sebastian here regarding the open letter from Thabo Mbeki. On the open letter, Clem, I just think he had backbone. And thank you to Mr. Mbeki for outshining Helen Zille, especially because who asked the DA to save us? Who needs them to save us? They're not the be-all and end-all. Hi, DA. Helen Zille, please, man. Sit down, Sebastian. Bye.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Remember Moretele Park, Kopitori, that music, the jazz. Ish, that was nice. I remember that. That was a highlight to go with my friends. Yeah, it made us feel like, we're grown now because we're copying the guys who were ahead of us. And then when we're at the right age, Moretele Park, we have arrived.
Yo, ke gopola Moretele. I've been there as well. And we used to wear star white. Star white, ne? When you all just dress in white. All white. No, back then we used to say star white. King theme, star white. So you just wear all white. Those were the days. What are those events for you? That used to be so big.
Morning, Clement. Clement, back in the days, there used to be this, how do I call it? Chibule in Chivenda, lack of a better ways, whereby they make you choose a box or money with the music on the background. It used to be a very big thing. It used to be done by SABC, presenters from SABC. They'll choose a place where they will be going on that particular weekend. We used to enjoy that a lot, Clement. We used to enjoy that a lot. Thank you, Clement.
Yeah. So let's do this, right? Because I'm getting people from different provinces saying, yeah, but we also had these events. What are the events that were big in your provinces? And I'll be honest, I'm from Mpumalanga and I can't think of anything. Like, what was really big for us in Mpumalanga that we used to... I do remember on the 16th of December, my mom and the ladies from the society used to like arrange for us to go to, was it Marble Hall? What? There was like an area we used to go to and we used to just go there and swim. Like on the 16th of December, all the ladies of the society and their kids used to just go there. But I don't think, there was actually an event in Siyabuso. Does anybody come from Siyabuso? In Mpumalanga, there was an event, a big event in Siyabuso. I just don't remember the name. Like people used to come from outside of Mpumalanga for that event. Fountains Valley. Who remembers Fountains Valley in Pretoria, just before you join the highway? Like TUT, Freshers used to happen there. Those were the places. Pretoria Showground. Some of you are reminding me of Pretoria Showgrounds. Makufe was a big one as well. They're big events that used to happen, guys. That were like, you knew that every year we're going to Fountains Valley, at the 16th of December, and Tlavera red and white. Those were the days. It's 9:30. Let's get the latest eyewitness news headlines. Sfiso, you're from Mpumalanga.
I am.
And Nelspruit, what did you guys have, Shem?
There was an event, man, called the 80s or something. Was it the 80s? Something like that, where you celebrated like 80s music and those sort of things. But also there was another huge event called Inibos. I think Inibos still happening, but it was a huge event celebrating the Afrikaans culture as well. Very, very big. But those are the two that come to mind at the moment.
All right. What comes to mind now on the headlines?
Well, in the headlines, Clement, is David Mabuza's family says it appreciates the former deputy president for dedicating his entire life to improving the socio-economic conditions of many South Africans. Mabuza died after a short illness yesterday at a Sandton hospital. In a statement this morning, his family describes Mabuza as a humble servant of the people. 2 suspects who have been killed in a shootout with police following a failed cash and transit heist in KwaZulu-Natal. Officers say the gang was intercepted while driving in Msinga last night. When officers approached the suspects, they opened fire, leading to the shootout. And government has given farmers the go-ahead to administer bird flu vaccinations. Earlier this week, Agriculture Minister John Steenhuizen announced that the country will soon begin its mass vaccination in the poultry sector. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Amo, how are we looking on the road?
Well, we've got an accident, Clement, on the N1 South that happened near Rivonia Road. It's causing delays as you come out of the Baku interchange while travelling on the R24 West as well as the N12 West. Delays between the Edenville Road exit and the Kilulis interchange. Speaking of the Kilulis interchange, more delays coming out of the N3 towards the turn off just as you come out of the Geldenese interchange. So please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. We'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car, and I don't know where to stop. Well, have you tried to... Cars.coza. Have you tried to... Cars.coza. Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
The acting mayor in Johannesburg, Mr. Kenny Kunene, is visiting the hijacked buildings. But I fail to understand, he's acting in the position. What is wrong with the mayor? Whenever Kenny Kunene is given a mere 5 days, 2 days, 3 days to be acting in the position, he's able to do the work that can be done in 5 years. People in those positions are just happy to collect a paycheck and do nothing.
Eden, thank you very much for that voice note. It really has been a very visible acting role for Kenny Kunene.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The South African Future Trust Awards are returning, made possible through funding by the Oppenheimer generations. Their 3 million rand in prizes recognize top entrepreneurs across the following 6 categories: top tech entrepreneur, top social entrepreneur, top youth entrepreneur, top women in business, most innovative idea, optimized operating model impact award. Entries are closing on the 31st of July, so please submit your application now at www.awards.southafricanfuturetrust.org. Winners will be announced at the 2025 South African Future Trust Summit taking place in November at the Sandton Convention Center. Limited early bird tickets available for 900 Rand. Get yours now in partnership with 702.
Checkers XXL Savings is on with the XXL Jackpot competition. New week, new deals, new jackpot. This week, save on Jacob's Gold or Kroning Instant Coffee, 200 or 230 grams for $139.99 each, and Nivea Shower Gel or Cream 500 mils, any 2 for 120 Rand. Remember, simply buy any 3 participating products, swipe your extra savings card and get a scratch card to enter the competition. Deals valid until Sunday at Checkers.
Get ready to ponder push-up play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 54 million Rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right! Play Powerball for an estimated 51 million Rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 3 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult day 3731. I'm really struggling to explain my parents to my therapist. Might send him to live with them so he can see for himself. What if he ends up in therapy too? Wait, what if they love him more than me?
Finally learning about mental health. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's convenient and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. What are the events that were really big back in the day that are still happening? Maybe some are not happening anymore. Those that are still happening, do you still go? Abel just reminded me about Zitabiseni. That's the event I was talking about around Siabuswa. That was so big. Like we used to have DJ Fresh or like these DJs. I don't know if DJ Fresh has been there, but they were like big famous DJs who used to come and play Zitabiseni around Siabuswa. Oh my goodness. Those were the days. So at least we had something. Kompumalanga. Some people are talking about the Witbank Dam Jazz Festival. I do remember that. We used to go to the Witbank Dam Society. That's the first time I ever saw it. So there are many events. Remember Pop Bottles? DJ Dimples, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. He used to spearhead that event, like Pop Bottles. That was a big one as well around Johannesburg. Hey? Let's go to your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Morning, Clement. Wow, you guys are coming hard on us, eh? You guys are coming hard on us, people that really enjoy the Durban July. I probably went there like 6 times back in the day. I'm older now. I haven't been there for a couple of years. And in the 6 times that I went down to the Durban July, I've never seen one horse. Never seen one horse. Yeah, anyway, that was me then. I do things differently now. Formula One, golf, like other people. TK from Victoria.
TK, that's so cool. In Limpopo, apparently there's Royal Gardens. Okay. Royal Gardens. Is it a big one? It's an event. I've got a poster here. Who's famous on this poster? Wait, who's the highlight? Wait, okay, I've got a poster here, but I can't really make up who's like the highlight. Yeah, but anyway, Royal Gardens apparently is a big one there in Limpopo. Apparently there's the Royal Heritage Festival as well in December. There were freshers as well that used to happen, go to any playground. More of your WhatsApps.
Good morning, my boy. In Siabuswa, that big event, it used to be called, well, it really didn't have a title. However, they were called festivals, but it was in a venue called Ketiwe Park.
Ketiwe Park.
Mfanaka, I'm sure you ever saw Babaki. I'm sure you were a small boy. Have you ever been to Ketiwe Park?
I have.
But
yes.
I'm just reminding you. And another one in Mpumalanga, at least in your areas where you guys hail from. There is this one used to happen during September in a park called, what is this? Debron. Yeah. Somewhere in the vicinity of Tembisilani local municipality. And then also in further of Mpumalanga with Dam, we used to have a lot of nice jazz festivals there. There used to be the thing, man. Yeah, also in Pretoria Fountains. Yeah, great stuff. Cheers.
Puleng, who are you? Okay, I got goosebumps there because he called me by the name that only people who know me from my village call me by. Like, my boy. So if you go to my village and you ask for Clement, they don't know who that is. So, yeah, Puleng, please can you send a voice note? How do you know that name? Who are you? Where are you from? Because there's only one way you can ever know that name. It's that probably we grew up in the same village. Jeez, nobody has called me by that in quite a bit. Please send a voice note and tell me, do I know you? do grab in the same village? Because that surprised me. More of your WhatsApp voice notes.
Hello, Clement. Mapari here, Rodipot. The biggest event in our province, Limpopo, Venda, sure Tato knows this, Kumba Fire. Every elite deep house people, Kumba Fire.
Clement, the place you're talking about in Mpumalanga was called Zithabiseni.
Yes.
We used to get into taxis. Those days, we used to call them Mandlebe, Liditsebe. Riding to Zithabiseni on the 16th of December every year. Some other years, you'll used to go to the Fountains Valley, Pretoria, Derdeboord in Pretoria, and as well as Jamestown Lake. Those days, back in those days, 16 December, it used to be fire. Hey, di betha base goed, Clemmy, base goed.
We used to, Iveco ke taxi, ne? Yo, tsamaka Iveco. We used to actually organize, like we used to pay about 250 with friends. Kadi 16th of December. Re hire a Iveco and we go to Zithabiseni or we go to the Witbank Dam. Yo, those were the days. And we used to like retswaka mo di Iveco ka di window, through the windows, and we would be dancing. Yeah, risky as it was. That's what we used to do. I miss those days.
Morning, Clement. There was actually one in Witbank. We used to call it Witbank Dam Jazz Festival, something like that. It used to be big, man. I was still new in this work environment thing. But I've just been to the gate, not inside.
Morning, Clement. I don't know if this was mentioned already, but I used to go to the 60s bash in Mafike, another farm. That was very epic, and it died down, sadly.
Morning, Clement. Man, the freshers at Medunza. Wow, I remember Bumshaka was there. You know, man, they performed Lebo Matosa. Yeah. That time of quiet, man. Yes, I was a big fan of Bumshaka by then. Lebo Matosa, man. It was awesome. I used to go there every year. Yes, Benny Man from Soshanguvi.
Clement, never thought in a million years I will hear you saying those were the days. So anyway, let me just remind you. I have a video of you attending Judith Supuma's live recording, and as the camera faced you, you hide your face, but anyway, so I know that you're a very shy person, but I used to do events. In my days, no events actually, like I've attended all these events. The summers, I think I've attended them more than 20 something years. I've attended, so many events, like the Durban July for 8 years since I was at the other station. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you scared me there. I have a video of you because a friend just sent me a message saying, why don't you tell people that you still get out of the window your taxi and dance on tables? No, I don't do that anymore. I do not do that anymore. And if there's a video of me doing that, I will sue you. Like, destroy it right now, please. Who remembers the Champagne Festival? So I've done the Champagne Festival probably for about 5-6 years. It happens in Cape Town in Franschhoek. It was amazing. I stopped going. Like, the last time I went was like 2 years ago. And it was becoming something else. It was no longer the Champagne Festival that we're used to. Like, it's too noisy now. It's too full. Yeah, it's just, because it used to be like a place where you just come and chill. It was in Franschhoek, beautiful area, like cool, calm music. Now, amapiano, ke party. So that's an event that I used to really enjoy every single year. It used to happen on the first weekend of December. On the first weekend, of December. Yeah. Does anybody still go to the Champagne Festival? How is it now?
Clemmy, more man. Floris here from the Western Cape. I think that Western Cape is the it place for festivals. There's so many, I cannot name them all, but I think one that really is a crowd puller is the Oyster Festival in the Garden Route. But yeah, like I said, Western Cape is the it place when it comes to big events. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Morning, Clement. Clement, back in the days, what used to happen is when teams from Gauteng, your Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns visit Black Leopards at Thohoyandou Stadium. Yeah, Clement, it used to be a very, very, very big day. I miss those days, Clement. Thank you.
Cherry Festival in Vicksburg. Someone else says, I don't know, I've never heard of the Cherry Festival in Vicksburg. And then someone said, Durupa Ramuripe Supermarket on the 1st of January. Yeah? Anybody know that event? I wonder. Yeah, there are so many other events. Someone says, Moretile Park on the 26th of December. Jazz Festival was the biggest event in Pretoria. Someone says, we used to go to Warmer Pan for DJ Mahuta and Fat Cook's birthday. Okay. Hi, Clement. I miss the beer festival, the Soweto Beer Festival, but I believe it's coming back with the original owners. Yeah, I think I heard that too. I've never been though, but I think I must have read somewhere or heard someone talk about the Soweto Beer Festival. I hope it is coming back because from what I've heard, it used to be a cool event. Someone says, Clement, I used to go to Fountains in December when I was living in Siyabusa. I lived in Siyabusa for 3 years, the 16th of December and Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Hi, Clement. There used to be, Opikopi. Who remembers Opikopi Festival? Oh, that was a big one. Is it still there? Oh, I do remember Opikopi Festival. And then, hi, Clement, I missed the Jazz on the Lake. Oh, yes, Kozu Lake. Oh, man, that was so cool. Jazz on the Lake. Hi, Clement, I live in Durban. I've lived in Durban my entire life and never attended the July, mostly because I'm not interested. I do appreciate that it brings lots of money and job opportunities. I used to attend the Royal Show in Pietermaritzburg. Royal Show. Okay, what did that involve in Pietermaritzburg? And it wasn't on this year as they've moved the premises for the first time in 122 years. Wow. Another one says, Clement, Durban July, I'm not fancy enough for that. That's a message there from Stacy in Lenasia. It's 12 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Julia de Bruin from Sandton. I like 702 because it's even-handed. Everybody and anybody can phone in, express their opinion, and everybody is treated with respect. So you get a good balanced view of everything, lots of information, lots of interesting things that you would never have otherwise known about. You can find out via 702. Whether you start listening at 5 a.m. if you can't sleep, or whether you're still awake at night at 10 to 12 with all.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Did you know that every hour someone in South Africa is diagnosed with blood cancer or a blood disorder? DKMS Africa helps patients find a matching stem cell donor, ensuring that patients get the transplant they need. This Mandela Month, be part of the mission. Donate 50 rands towards the Swap Kids Save Lives campaign. Your donation will help more people register as potential stem cell donors. Visit dkmsafrica.org today. Every rand and every swab count in the fight against blood cancer.
Get ready, South Africa. The 129th Hollywood Bets Durban July gallops into Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse on Saturday, 5th July. It's more than a race. It's the heartbeat of Mzansi. This year's theme, Marvels of Mzansi, celebrates our rich culture, vibrant heritage, and breathtaking beauty. From thrilling horse racing to show-stopping fashion and powerful performances by Zolani Mahola, Lira, Mafigi Zolo, and more. Feel the pulse of a nation in celebration. Tickets are flying fast. Secure yours now at Ticket Pro. The Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
So Taryn, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to WeBuyCars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So where did you hear about WeBuyCars?
All of my friends are using WeBuyCars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Taryn. Graduated and upgraded. WeBuyCars. Geared for success. Geared for you.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock. All right, someone just texted me saying, okay, it's safe to go back to the Champagne Festival in Franschhoek because apparently things have gone back to normal. There was not a single Amapiano song last year. So, okay, cool. Maybe I'll try it again. John, you are in Craighall Park. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, and you? Well,
Good.
I've had a hip replacement not too long ago, but I'm getting there.
Oh, all the best, brother.
Thanks.
Sure.
So your listeners from the Eastern Cape will know the area called the Long Kloof, and there's a town there just about halfway up that Long Kloof there. It's called Kareedo, and it's named for the Karee bush. And when the bush comes into fruit, they make a slightly alcoholic drink for it. They call it curry, as in the bush would be called karee, but the drink it's called curry. And they have the curry festival where they all compete for the most tasty of these drinks. It's made a bit like the old-fashioned mead in the UK because they have they add honey to it as well. But the really quaint thing about that is that there's a schoolboy rugby festival, and they play for the curry beker.
Oh, that's fascinating. So when would it happen during the year?
I forget exactly when the Karee fruit bush comes into fruit, but that's when it is. I think it's in about April.
Ah, okay. Okay, interesting. John, thank you for that. And I'm glad I've got someone from the Eastern Cape. I was just wondering, where are people in the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape? Where have you been to in as far as big events are concerned? Let's go to some more WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
Good morning, Mandy Major. When you speak of events, like I used to go to the 60s party in Mafike. I would hire a car. Before I had a car, I would hire a car and drive all the way from Joburg to Mafike. I think I did that 3 years in a row. So yeah, going to the 60s party, I did it 3 years in a row. So I used to enjoy it. Big up to Fistas, Mixwell, Utumi, Okulmaya, Sharp.
Clement, I have bad news for you, my friend. The festival hasn't changed. You have. If it's too loud and too full, it's probably you. And I say that because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
For the day that's in it, Oasis played their first reunion concert tonight in Wales. My first concert ever was in Cork, where I come from, when I was 15.
Yeah.
And I remember going to many concerts and being down the front in the, what they call, the mosh pit. And I don't know how I lasted there for hours. I can't think of anything worse at the age of 44 than being at the front, standing in a big stadium concert. I want to be chilled in the stands, relaxed, with access to the facilities and to the bar that are easy.
Yeah.
But we get older, and these are the things. It's Derek.
Derek, actually, I think you've hit it. I think actually the reason, that's it. We are just old. We're getting old. And maybe there's nothing wrong with the Champagne Festival in Franschhoek. It's just, I'm getting old. Probably. Who knows? Joyous Celebration, live event. I think the last I attended also was so loud and ooh. And I was just so, I think, and I don't like loud places. So, yeah, I think you've got it there, brother. Maybe it is that. Maybe the events themselves have not changed. Maybe we are getting old. Who remembers the Trooper? Did you guys have the Trooper? You didn't have the Trooper? Well, okay, Trooper. What's Trooper? Like they wear like, how do I explain that? Trooper, they play like these drums and then the guys wear like the soldiers' uniform, like khaki, the brown khaki. And then the ladies will wear like these short, red, sketch English, able. Like it's Scottish dress. Like it's a red Scottish kind of a dress. And it's short and then they just move like that. So we called it Trooper in Mpumalanga. I don't know what that is in English. I'm sorry. But that was so cool. And there was a place called Loding. Loding is another village there in Mpumalanga. It's like drum majorites, but the local African version, whatever that is. But it is like drum majorites, but it's very different because they've composed their own songs about, some of the songs are so funny because they would sing about politics. Like they'll sing about Zuma. And then they'll sing about stuff. Or if there was a big celebrity story, they'll compose a song around it and then they play the drums and then they dance. It's the most beautiful thing. I'm going to post a video on Twitter if you're on X. I'm going to post a video of it so you can see, because every time I go home in December, they pass by the street and then normally you call them in, you give them 100 rand and then they dance for you guys. Oh, that's the best thing ever. So normally they would compete Koloding or in the areas around sometimes not far from Hammanskraal even. And then we used to go there to just watch them compete. That was so cool.
Good morning, Clement. It's Ian here in Boxback, Eastern Mall. Yeah, we used to have a big event in Eastern Mall. Yeah, they called it Spring Fiesta, like welcoming summer, something like that. Yeah, it was a big one. Like, having all those DJs, the big DJs, yeah. All of sorts, yeah, it was a big one. I used to attend it in each and every season of welcoming summer, but now I'm no longer interested. And again, it's also gone. So yeah, it was interesting by that time. So yeah, thanks, Ian.
Hi, Clement. Yeah, in Limpopo, to be specific, the Sekhukhune area, there is a Gaila Bang concept. This is a party that happens in Kanokeng, basically. So you have your double caps rangers, your all these type of bakkies parking in the river, and then people having fun.
Good morning, Clement. In Westerland, we used to have Donasel Dam somewhere in Bergesdal.
Hi, Clement. Shumane. We used to go to Fat Group Visis Mahuta, which was in Rosettenville, that side of Rosettenville, is it near Santarama? And then there was another one, Power Park. Yeah, it was hot. And then we also did White House in Meadowlands. That was Trompis, I think. Yeah, Trompis. And then we used to move from the south to Pretoria, Fountain. And then which one is it? There's another one that I'm trying to remember. And then we used to go to another one in Loli, for DJ's Piwe. Was used to do that every year. Yeah. He was used to bring all these big guys like Kenin Kwashu and them. Yeah, it was hectic. We had fun.
Okay, so trooper, someone says maybe it's a troop. Derived from the English troop. So that's why we called it trooper. Clement, those are called troopers. Biggest troopers festival happens on the 26th of December in Makapastad village near Hammanskraal. Yes, near Hammanskraal. So that's where we used to go. That's the area where we used to go in that village, Makapastad village, because that's where they used to compete. Because I used to go home like on the 23rd or 22nd of December. While we there, used to organize with friends to go check it out. It's dope. It really is dope. I'll put up a video of what they do, these troopers. It's now 10 o'clock. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. David Mabuza's family says it appreciates the former deputy president for dedicating his entire life to improving the socio-economic conditions of many South Africans. Mabuza died after a short illness yesterday at a Sandton hospital. In a statement this morning, his family describes Mabuza as a humble servant of the people. Political parties, meanwhile, have reacted with sadness to his passing, saying he was an influential figure. Mabuza was a leader of government business during his term as deputy president. Babalondenza reports.
Political parties reacted to David Mabuza's passing yesterday, describing him as someone who played a pivotal role in shaping the country's political landscape. Bosa leader Musi Maimane said while he frequently clashed with Mabuza on matters of accountability and governance, he always recognized his political acumen and influence. Good Party leader Patricia de Lille extended her party's condolences, saying Mabuza was an exemplary chair of intergovernmental forums, noting how his meetings were always marked by punctuality and clarity of purpose. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba called Mabuza a significant figure in South African political life.
His contributions and influence span decades and will leave a long-lasting impact on our country's democratic journey.
IFP leader Velenkosini Hlabisa said South Africa has lost a leader who was both pragmatic and driven by purpose. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula could find himself in trouble for publicly confirming the death of the former deputy president before the president's office made the announcement. President Cyril Ramaphosa waited for Mabuza's family before informing the nation about his passing yesterday. Mbalula is being accused of undermining both his party and government processes for his announcement. Tsidi Madia has more.
While other senior government and ANC leaders waited to go public with the news of David Mabuza's passing, Fikile Mbalula went on X confirming the death. This, however, was without any communication from the highest office in the land, which Mabuza once served as deputy president. It's now understood President Cyril Ramaphosa opted to wait for Mabuza's wife and family to travel from Barberton in Mpumalanga to Johannesburg, where he died before their arrival. Government insiders told EWN the president wanted to allow the Mabuza space to pay their respects before informing the nation. Mbalula has now caught the eye of his comrades in the top 7 and in the National Executive Committee, with some suggesting he needs to be reprimanded. Tsidi Madia, Eyewitness News.
2 suspects have been killed in a shootout with police following a failed cash-in-transit heist in KwaZulu-Natal. Officers say the gang was intercepted while driving in Msinga yesterday. When officers approached them, they opened fire, leading to the shootout. KZN police spokesperson Jay Naika says 2 criminals who survived the shooting have been arrested.
Preliminary investigations have revealed that one of the arrested men is a former employee of a private security company. The suspects will appear in the Msinga Magistrates Court soon, and investigations are ongoing.
And government has given farmers the go-ahead to administer bird flu vaccinations. Earlier this week, Agriculture Minister John Steenhuizen announced that the country will soon begin its mass vaccination in the poultry sector. Although most birds can contact the virus, poultry is more susceptible to it. State vet Vivian Malan says bird flu does not pose a serious risk to human.
Vaccination in poultry can only be done under approval from the National Director of Animal Health. So far, only one company has had approval. It'll only be given to large-scale producers with high-value birds.
He says the virus mutates each year.
I think just in general, people will be careful if they do see large numbers of birds that died, and please make sure that they then contact the local state vet office. And then we are just asking all producers to make sure that they increase their biosecurity.
Gold is trading at $3,343.08 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 24 rand exactly to the pound, 20.68 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.48 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between the Geldenes interchange and the Kilulis interchange. That's due to an earlier accident while traveling on the N12 as well as the R24 West. We expect delays coming out of Edenville Road towards the Kilulis turn off.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. David Mabuza's family says it appreciates the former deputy president for dedicating his entire life to improving the socio-economic conditions of many South Africans.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 listens.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And thank you for the fun calls and voice notes we got in the previous hour. Just reflecting on the big events we used to attend. Those were the days. And I think I'm now resolved that some of the events that are still taking place today that many of us don't go to, it's not because the events have changed themselves. I think we have changed. We have just gotten older, and maybe we must just accept that. But I always appreciate your calls and WhatsApps on the 702 open line. Time now for our Across the Desk feature.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So, on our Across the Desk feature today, I am hosting South Africans who live and work abroad. So, I thought we should just get their experiences of what really attracted them. Why did they decide to move? And how did they build their community? Because I can only imagine how difficult it is to be in a country and you don't know a lot of people. So how did they build their community? How did they adjust? How is the working environment there compared to what they were accustomed to here in South Africa? So I'm going to be introducing you to my guests in a moment, but please feel free to join this conversation. You can call us on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. So we've got Tumelo Sitlaba, who is a South African working in the Netherlands in Amsterdam. Tumelo, I saw you 2-3 weeks ago. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having us on the show, Clement. Why at home when we are so far away? Why when we are so far away from home?
We tried to remind you.
Happy
we remind you of what you're missing out on. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have Elsa Gideons, who's joining us all the way from America. I haven't seen Elsa I think I saw you last year, Elsa. But thank you for joining us. I know you stayed up in Seattle. What time it is now?
It is officially 1:08 a.m. in Seattle. So, but for you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through. So she's in Seattle in the US, and we also have Thulani Menye, who's all the way in London. I didn't get to see him in London 4 weeks ago because, yeah, he clearly doesn't want to see me. Thulani, how are you doing? Welcome.
Blaming me. Yeah, no, good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners. Yeah, I'm good. Excited to share some experiences in this show with all different people sitting around the world. So yeah,
Thank
all
you.
good.
And we also have Lindile Mkobele, who is a South African working in Dubai. Lindile, thank you for also joining us. Hi. Good, man. Good. Thank you for joining this chat. Okay, I want us to start just briefly with how you guys and when you guys decided to leave the country. And I'll start with you, Tumelo. What was it for you? What attracted you with the opportunity that was presented to you in Amsterdam? And how has it been so far?
What brought me to the Netherlands was an entrepreneurial opportunity. I had the privilege of launching a startup in South Africa with Dutch co-founders called Enabler, which still exists today, by the way. We were creating data sets to train and teach algorithms. This was a few years ago. And then I wanted to go into my next venture. However, it was in e-commerce. And in order for the project that I wanted to launch to be a success, I thought at the time that I needed big numbers in e-commerce that you would see in the likes of Europe and America.
Yeah.
And so off I went with a venture capital firm, and I was under the freelance or startup or entrepreneurial visa that's known in the Netherlands. And that was the beginning of me launching businesses and owning businesses in Europe.
Yeah.
And how has it been going so far? I would say definitely one of the biggest learnings is that, I think South Africa has so much more to offer than any of us, well, let me speak for myself, than I realized before heading over to Europe. But I think it took me going overseas and experiencing the other side to be able to say, oh, hold on a minute. We actually have a lot to offer. And other than these big numbers that we are chasing, I think we have the full capability of offering those from our homelands. So how is it going? It's going well, but I think I could still do it in South Africa just as well, if not better.
Come back home, Dumelo. Hashtag Dumelo must come back home. Elsie, how about you? You've been in the US for quite a while, actually, Elsa. What sent you over there, and what are you doing now? How has it been so far?
Should actually be in a book. It's a too long of a story, but the short of it is, in 2011 I came over. There was just an opportunity where I took a break in my career in South Africa and came over to the US and immediately got an opportunity to coach Team USA for netball. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I became the first head coach of the first All-American netball team, and a few months later, the first World University Championships was going to be hosted in Cape Town. So it was just this incredible opportunity that worlds collided at the right time, and so I started there. Did a little bit of ministry, was a youth pastor for a long time. And then about 6 years ago, I moved all the way West Coast. I was a speaker at a conference, and someone just kind of headhunted me for 5 months, and I finally caved in. Left New York City after 10 years, and then, 9 years, and then moved to Seattle for an executive job, which I then actually resigned, and I started my own company 3 years ago in the midst of COVID. What I would say, I would echo what Melo said. There's just nothing like home. There's nothing like South Africa. Yes, the financial opportunities, I believe, are a little bit greater for my background and what, the opportunities that I didn't get back home. But the lifestyle, the people, the culture, the food, I mean, the list just goes on and on. There's nothing like Mzansi, ne? Like, so 14, 15 years later, I'm still loving my homeland.
Amazing. And Thulani, how about you? What took you to London, and how is it going so far?
Yeah, quite intriguing, Clement. Actually, today marks, it's actually 2 years. I'm marking a 2 year period in the
Yeah.
UK. So quite interesting that I'm having this conversation. And yeah, I think, I mean, back in 2015, I was thinking about it, actually reflecting that I was already thinking of venturing out and exploring opportunities outside South Africa. And I was looking at my email recently and I thought to myself, how adventurous then at that early probably process. But I think more than anything, I think for me it was taking a leap of faith, to be honest, and just seeing what the other world has to offer. And I wanted to broaden my knowledge and experiences. And I knew very well if I was going to come to the UK, I was not going to have a language barrier issue. And so, because I mean, I've had friends of mine who live in Germany and left and live in some countries where there was different languages being spoken, and so that was always a bit of a challenge. So, but I was also fortunate that I worked for the same company in South Africa, which then gave me an opportunity to do similar work in the space of energy industry. So I work as an engineer in the oil and gas industry and have been working for them for the past 12 and a half years. And so I went to a niche space in aviation. And so that's what I specialize on. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And then lastly, Lindile, you are in Dubai. What took you there and how is it so far? Lindile, if you can just unmute yourself, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
No, the reason I have to come to this site is because of I wanted to try something different, man. I'm in hospitality space,
Yeah.
so they brought me there. It's my agent from South Africa. So he asked me if there's any possibility if I can work in UAE. I said no, I can do it, man.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel different compared to FA.
That's
There's so
fascinating.
many there's so many South African community. So it's like I'm back home.
That's fascinating.
So safety is 100% only. Zero crime, zero, 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 zero. You
Yeah.
can walk anytime. Everything is top notch.
Yeah. And that's my next question now to you guys. And Tumelo, let me start with you. How was it adjusting in the Netherlands? Because one of the things that you get stuck with as a South African is the issue of safety. Like, I mean, if you're in Europe, you probably will not want to step out if you've just moved there at 11 p.m., 10 p.m., because you're still thinking, mentality, I'm still in South Africa, anything could happen to me. And people will probably look at you weirdly and say, what are you talking about, ma'am? Of course you can walk around here even at 10. How did you adjust? Are there certain things that you had to unlearn about Mzansi?
Yeah, sure. Look, Clement, the difference in safety is unparalleled, I have to say. When I compare Amsterdam to most of the big cities in South Africa. I tell a lot of my friends, there was a time when I had been in Amsterdam for a couple of weeks and I almost physically felt my body, there was a tension that kind of unpacked itself and left my body in a way to realize that, I don't have to be so tense. And it was a tension that I actually hadn't been even aware of up until that point. So it's almost like an ignorance is bliss kind of situation, I would say. I think there are so many reasons why there is greater safety and security in the Netherlands versus South Africa. It runs so far deep that it's almost a little bit unfair to compare.
Of course.
And so, if you were to say to someone, South Africa is so much more dangerous than the Netherlands. Sure, but Lerona in South Africa, we have our mechanisms of survival as well. If I hadn't come to the Netherlands, I wouldn't have been so aware of this tension. Although I'm very much aware as well in South Africa, yes, sometimes we do live in fear, but we cope, we manage, we keep it moving as South Africans. But I have to say the safety is quite an advantage. Another security, though, that has stood out for me is that of social security. And that is of the safety net that exists within these markets. If I can just give a slight anecdote, if you'll just give me a few seconds to explain. When I went to go launch my tech startup, I was surrounded by other European counterparts who were in the same position as myself, who were also launching businesses. And I found myself sitting at the table and I asked, so guys, how long are you giving yourselves, to succeed? Because you give it all up, right? You, as an entrepreneur, you put your head down, you don't have the security 9 to 5, you just get in and try to make something of it. And, my counterparts were so shocked by my question, some were from Norway, some were from Sweden. And they said to me, no, we're not even thinking about that. We haven't even started our entrepreneurial journey. Why would we think about how we're going to end it? And I felt like I had said a faux pas of sort, I thought I had misstepped. I spoke to a family member who had also lived in Europe for a couple of years. And he said, therein, Tumelo, lies the psychology and mentality and difference when you have grown up with a safety net versus when you have not grown up with a social security safety net.
Absolutely.
It runs deep. But it has its advantages and disadvantages. Now, I hope out of everything that I say in this conversation, it's not to say there's a better than or a worse than, but I can say that there's so much more we can leverage as South Africans that can make us quite competitive and quite strong in surviving what the world is really challenging with us all together on the global scale.
Do you own a car? And how do you move around in Amsterdam? You've got a bicycle.
Okay, so for those of us who are going to be visiting, a car is the worst mode of transport in Amsterdam. The architecture in Amsterdam actually stems from the 15th and 16th century, a period that they call the Golden Age, which is the architecture is based on that period and hasn't changed much since then. So cars are really not the most ideal mode of transport. Like, I thank my parents so much for teaching me at a young age. It's a happy experience. You see everybody. It's an equalizer. I have to say, you see an old Dutch granny there, waswaya, and you're like, who am I, right, to not be able to do such things? So no, I don't own a car, but I do very proudly own bicycle and daddy.
Yeah, Elsa, how do you move around? So, you've lived in New York as well, right, Elsa? When I met you, I met you in New York, in Brooklyn. I met Elsa, guys, at a Amapiano party in Brooklyn. I went to a party. And I didn't know Elsa from a bar of soap, and I was just, because you're in America and there's a number piano party and you're like, I'm gonna meet some South Africans, and I get there and there's this cool lady who's just so vibrant, and we just started talking. That's how I met Elsa, and we became friends ever since. So how was your experience in Seattle? How do you move around? I know in New York there's like the sub that people use. Like, is it better to have a car in Seattle, or is the infrastructure fine? And what was that adjustment for you?
Yeah, I'll start with my 9 years in New York. The subway is just, it's the equalizer there. So you've got, the Wall Street millionaire, and then you've got the homeless, the houseless, all on the subway, commuting every day together. It's the fastest way to get everywhere. And then you walk. New Yorkers are known to walk everywhere. And then about almost now going on to 5-6 years in Seattle, I live downtown, so it's still quite walkable. But most people commute in. I had a car, and then I actually got rid of it because it is so expensive. Every building on average about $300 extra on top of your rent to have a car in the garage, which is wild. And so I traded back my car, and I just do Ubers. And since the pandemic, these electric bikes and scooters have been introduced. It's quite a huge tech city. My neighbors where I live, it's Google, Amazon, Facebook, just you name it. Everyone's here. So there's designated cycle lanes and for scooters as well. So I just do a combination of walking, because a lot of my meetings are downtown where I live, scooter or Uber if I'm feeling fancy for the day. So yeah.
The Uber in America is so expensive. Like you're going 10 minutes away and you're paying 800 Rand. No. I'll take the sub any day. Thulani, how about you? How do you move around? So I met Thulani when did we do the London Marathon? Last year, ne? Yeah, I met Thulani
We did it last year, yeah.
Yeah. So do you run to work, seeing that you are a runner?
Oh my God, running to work. But actually, Clement, I signed up for a cycle to work scheme at work. So we've got that kind of a benefit where we can cycle to work and the work compensates us for cycling to work. So it's a really great initiative to motivate employees to get active. And yeah, I mean that's the easiest. I get to work. Otherwise, you get stuck on traffic, which is just not necessary. The other option is you get on the overground or the underground train. The underground train is just fastest way of getting to London in the city. So very much easy. And I mean, to my surprise, it's just when I got here, it was so interesting that people just it was very normal to get into a train and my managers, senior managers, it's just very normal. And people would rather be sitting in a train and having a book, reading a book, rather than being stuck in traffic and just being on a car. So it's just simplicity and just finding that kind of uniqueness of doing things differently. Whereas if I was in South Africa, I mean, I lived in Joburg and Sandton, and one of the things was like you have to get a car to get around and to get around sites and things like that. Whereas it's just easier here to be actually on a public transport. So that's definitely something that's been very unique.
Yeah. What was the biggest cultural adjustment you guys had to make when you first arrived? Tumelo, what was it? And did it get lonely? Because for some reason, every time I see my friends who live overseas, they get too excited to see you. I mean, Tumelo, when I saw you 3 weeks or so ago, you were nobody Sotho the whole time because you just miss
the whole time
speaking. So, is there like the cultural adjustment you had to make, and how did you navigate the loneliness? Because you are in the middle of this city. Sometimes you don't know anyone. Do you build your own community? How long does it even take to build your own community until you're now feeling at home?
Yeah. Look, when you move abroad, the biggest adjustment is that of a cultural one. And for most of us here, we transition from an African context to an otherwise Western context. And so you're going to drill down now into ethos. African ethos is about togetherness. It's about, we can all go down the Ubuntu Ngabantu alley, right? That's fine. But in the Western society, individualism is celebrated, and being able to have that independence and don't have that sort of social dependence on your surroundings. And being able to have that autonomy to kind of just operate as you like, which I actually welcomed. I actually quite enjoyed that liberal idea of not having to greet everywhere I go or not having to, worry about everyone who surrounds me, which not that I was worried in South Africa, but I was aware of everyone who surrounded me, and I wanted to acknowledge everyone's existence and everyone's presence around me. So it's not so much that, it was a challenge, but it was definitely a very conscious transition, and not using so much social capital, expending on those around me who otherwise don't really need me to spend it on them. So I think that was probably the biggest adjustment. But fortunately, Rona as South Africans, we seem to find each other somewhere, somehow. You were just saying, Najina, you found yourself somewhere. We find each other. We, I would love to hear from the others, but surprisingly, WhatsApp is a very powerful tool as a connector for us South Africans. There are so many WhatsApp groups, and for those who might be listening from abroad who don't know about this, ask a South African if they are part of a WhatsApp group. And that is such a live ecosystem.
Yeah.
There is so much knowledge, there is so much support. And I really look forward to seeing how those WhatsApp groups sort of evolve and mature, because I think that is a power that is bubbling under that will really give an identity to the African diaspora footprint. I think that's where the heartbeat is. That's where we all meet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Elsa, for you?
Sure. This is a huge one for me. It actually played a huge role in starting my company called Ubuntu Travel. So when I first moved to New York, I looked like I could come from anywhere in the world. I was this kid to be like, "Que lo que mami, cómo estás?" And I told him, "Hey, I'm from South Africa," and he starts saying, "Hey, stop like dissing your culture. Be proud to be Dominican." I was like, and then there's just dialogue all the time when I met people saying, "Oh, what are you?" I'm like, "I'm South African." And then they'd be like, "Oh, I'm a quarter Puerto Rican, I'm a quarter this, I'm an eighth this." And I'm just like, "Well, where were you born?" And that kind of just it still happens, 15 years later. And so definitely the WhatsApp groups, I first found my first Sappers in New York. That was a WhatsApp group that started in New York City, Facebook groups. We had meetups monthly. And then same thing in Seattle. Seattle was a little bit difficult. I did a little bit of DEI work, diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and we had to give a lot of statistics to our clients. So Seattle is actually the second whitest city in the country. It's 340 million people in the US.
Wow.
And in the city of Seattle, it's the second whitest, which was really difficult for me coming from New York, which is like so dense in population. The whole world is in one city. So that was quite like an adjustment. And the South Africans that I met here, had been here a long time, maybe since 94-ish. So, and then I arrived, and then a year later it was COVID. So it was very difficult for me to find community. I found a little bit at church, but not really.
Yeah.
And so I just had to find the things that I loved, golf, sport, squash, things that I like to do. And that's where I started building my community in Seattle, and they're still close friends of mine here. So, you just find, like Dumelo say, we find a way to find each other.
Yeah.
It still happens consistently.
Have the South African refugees made it into the WhatsApp group?
No comment. I'm gonna go on a tangent there. Hey.
Okay, it's 10:32. I'll get Tulani to respond to that question. Tulani and Lindile to respond to that question after the headlines. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. Deputy President Paul Mashatile will visit the family of his predecessor, David Mabuza, to pay his condolences. The former Deputy President died after a short illness yesterday at a Sandton hospital. Mabuza's family has also released a statement this morning saying he dedicated his entire life to improving the socio-economic conditions of many South Africans. The foreign policy of the Government of National Unity continues to be a thorny matter, with parties like the DA and FF Plus accusing the ANC of foisting its own policy on the coalition government. Delivering the budget for international relations in the National Assembly yesterday, Minister Ronald Lamola denied that this is the case, saying the GNU stance is shaped by key national documents and the statements of intent of the coalition partners. And Federal President of the Republic of Austria, van der Bellen, has arrived in South Africa for a 4-day working visit. This is a historic moment as it marks the first time an Austrian head of state visits the country. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Right, this EWN traffic.
Well, if you are traveling, thank you, Clement. If you're traveling on the N12 West, we've got delays between Edenville Road and the Kilulu's interchange. That's due to an earlier accident, while on the N3 North bumper-to-bumper traffic between Van Buren Road and the Kilulu's interchange. This is due to a car that is stuck on the road. And if you are traveling on the M1 North, do expect delays between Boyson's Road and the Crown interchange. The southerly direction of this highway is also backed up coming out of Car Street towards the Crown turn-off. I'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Everybody loves payday, but every payday comes with a challenge, right? How are you going to make your money last? Well, no stress. Takealot brings you a lot more less. Buy pantry essentials in bulk and save up to 55%. Seriously, it's bulk shopping made simple. Want even bigger, better savings? Well, subscribe to Take a Lot More today for exclusive deals and unlimited free same-day delivery. Download the Take a Lot app and start your free 1-month Take a Lot More trail today.
Get ready to panda push-up play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 54 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right! Play Powerball for an estimated 51 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 3 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Push Up Play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
When life changes, so should your savings plan. And when your goals evolve, your advice should evolve with them. With Momentum, advice meets your context. Catch 702 in conversation with Momentum on The Money Show next Wednesday, 9 July, as we unpack why context matters in financial advice. Discover how you can get the right support on your savings and investment journey, tailored to where you are and where you're going. That's 702 in conversation with Momentum next Wednesday on The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Momentum, your journey to success on 702. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct, to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Across the Desk feature this morning. I'm hosting South Africans who live abroad, and we're just getting to know about their decision to move and what are they doing overseas and how has it been for them. And I see some of your questions that are coming through for them, so I'll ask them in a moment. So keep them coming on 072 702 1702. That's the number to dial. The WhatsApp line. You can call us as well on 011 883 0702. Maybe you are living abroad somewhere. How has that experience been for you? How did you adjust? Have you found a family? Do you have a WhatsApp group as well? Let me know, please. Tulani, let me find out from you the question I asked Tumelo and Elza. What was the cultural shock one for you when you arrived in the UK? And do you have a community? I mean, I've got a lot of people who listen to my show from the UK. So I wonder if you guys also have a WhatsApp group there.
Yeah, so I think the biggest cultural shock for me was definitely food, Clement. I mean, I'm a village boy, so I'm used to eating my amasi, umphokoqo. It's one of those things, or sampan beans, man. And you're just like, oh, where can I find this? And so interesting. I mean, I went to my neighbor, and my colleague advised me, because British people can be very interesting. They are interesting in the sense that they are very polite and very accommodating, but also not direct to tell you, I don't like that, or I don't, So my colleague advised me, said, no, just go and greet your neighbor and just say hi and say that, so that if you travel and you're away, so that they can, look after you. And so I did. And fortunately, my neighbor was actually South African, and she had a South African shop. She had moved here years ago, and she sells biltong, millies, and all of that. I
Oh
don't
my
know how many
God.
times she's brought biltong to my door. So to be honest, I've been really treated from a community point of view from where I stay, and then also in terms of, I mean, work environment as well. I think that also has been very kind environment. And then in the social space as well. I mean, there's something called stock fair in, and I challenge you,
Mm.
Clement. So when you come to London, please, we should consider this. It's
Yeah.
called Stockfair, where South Africans just gather and on a quarterly basis, and they meet up and they have a braai and papa and chakalaka, the things that we're used to,
Wow.
man. And we just like connect up and just link up with fellow South Africans. And yeah, so that's always good to kind of connect up. So yeah, a bit of an adjustment at the beginning,
Mm.
definitely, because I mean, being far from family and thinking that you are miles away from family. For you to get home, you need to really plan and think about it. So yeah, definitely that can be mind-boggling. But more than anything, I think I've kind of acclimatized over the 2 years. So if you ask me a question about, let's say, a year ago, I would have probably said, okay, I'm still settling. But to be honest, 2 years now,
Mm.
I'm quite happy. And I think I quite like to be around a safe space where I know that I can wake up at any time and just walk outside and just
Mm.
be free and not be attacked or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Lindile, how about you? What was the adjustment like for you? And you did mention that there are lots of South Africans there. Do you guys also hook up once in a while? I think you may be muted there, Lindile.
Okay, can you hear me now, bro?
Yes, go ahead, brother.
I think for me it was lucky because I came here and I joined South African restaurant, so it was very easy for me. In terms of WhatsApp group, we have so many. We have for vacancies, we have for fun. Like after 6 months, we will do something like gathering, like Amopeji, Amazulu, Amaxhosa, yonke la mix,
Mm.
like inyama, So everything was smoothly, man. Even now, I'm still holding.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's cool. So working for a South African company, yeah, that must have made things much easier for you. All right, let's go to some calls now and some WhatsApp voice notes. Guys, I've got some people who've got questions for you, so I'll ask you some of those in a moment. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. The WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. There's somebody else who lives overseas. Her name is Taki, all the way in Paris, in France. Taki, how are you doing?
Bonjour Clément.
Bonjour, ça va?
Oui, ça va, merci. Et toi?
Très bien, merci. So, you live in Paris, Taki. How long have you been there now?
This is actually my 4th year here, and it's just been absolutely incredible. Because one of the guests that you've got, they were talking about safety.
Yeah.
I remember the one time we were going through a deadline and I needed to run for that day, and I literally went out at 11 p.m. and ran just, on scene. And that is like literally one of my biggest things that I've discovered about being in Paris.
The issue of safety. But also, guys, Taki, like from her apartment, you can just see the Eiffel Tower. So what a blessed girl. I must say though, so whenever you go to Paris, Taki will ask you to bring like Millie Meal or knickknacks or even Savannah. Am I lying?
You're not.
You're definitely not lying.
So where do you get the South African stuff that you miss? Is there a South African shop? Because you still love your pop, right? You still love your knickknacks. You still love your Savannah. So how do you get that stuff?
So when when anyone is coming to Paris, I just ask Kikupa knickknacks or corn bites, you know. That kind of thing. And also, when I go home, I bring like a 2 kg of Millie Meal and it lasts me for about a year or 2 years. I don't care if it has expired, but it is the bathroom.
Don't get sick there in Paris, please. All right, Taki, all the way from Paris in France. Merci, mon ami. Au revoir. Thank you very much for the call. Okay, so there are a few questions here for you guys. Before that, in fact, let's play this WhatsApp voice note, and then I'll get them to respond to the questions.
Good morning, Clement. This is Durant. I'm calling in from Ireland, and I listen to your show every morning through the app. You know, it makes me feel like I'm at home. Originally, I'm from Pretoria, so I was headhunted in 2023. I'm working as a mechanical engineer in Ireland, so I can say in terms of my career, I'm growing. But there are things that I miss about home, you know, the weather and the food and the people. It's just not the same as in, you know, South Africa. But I can say the people here are more nicer, you know, and also career progression, it's much, much faster than it would have been in South Africa. So what I'm learning in 3 months here, I would have learned it in South Africa for 1 year. And yeah, thank you for the show every day, Clement. And that's the show. Bye-bye.
That's the show. That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, there's a question here about the currency. Someone wants to know, what's the benefit of you guys being paid in the local currency there? My rule with friends who live overseas is when they're in South Africa, they have to take the bill because, I mean, Elsa, with those dollars, are you kidding me? Tulani with the pound compared to our rent. So, Elsa, is it a benefit when you come home? Like, are you bowling?
Yo, I will say it's nice. It's nice. I'm not gonna lie. But you know that black tax that we have at home, that everybody expects it. So it's a little hard. But I will say people at home forget when you earn in dollars, your expenses are also in dollars, right?
Yes,
That's the one thing you must remember, family. Our expenses are quite high. So, but it's nice. It's comfortable when we're home. So,
yeah, that's so cool. And Tulani, Tulani,
So Clement, I mean, the cost of living in the UK is quite very high. So you appreciate that because I mean, it's exactly what Liz is saying in terms of expenses. But yeah, definitely, when you go home, you start to appreciate that 1 to 20, you know, one pound to 24, 25 rands, you know. So yeah, it does kind of make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, Dumela.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the top highlights. I also feel like a very responsible citizen coming home and spending my cash and, you know, pumping it into my home country. You know, it hurts more when I'm paying for my immediate expenses, like Ilza was saying, but there's something that I want to call it pride, maybe. When I'm able to spend money that is otherwise 18x, 25x in South Africa, it feels like I'm contributing in some way or another. So, you know, that's an element that I really do enjoy, I must say.
And then someone else here says, hi, Clement. I listen to LBC and other music radio stations in the UK because I've been considering relocating there for radio station job opportunities. I've noticed that listeners are expressing concerns about Britons leaving the UK to seek job opportunities abroad, while South Africans are successfully finding work in London. I'm curious about how challenging it is to secure employment in a country where its own citizens are also living. Another one says, Clement, good morning to you and the team. I'm enjoying this chat. I just want to find out from your guests, do they think that the financial chances are still great, taking in consideration the economic status in the world? My daughter wants to see herself in London. She's doing a degree in fashion media. So any tips, guys? Maybe let's broaden this question for all the people that are listening to us. Maybe they or their children are considering taking up opportunities in other countries. What tips do you have for them? What should they know before they make the decision to come? Any tips, Dumelo?
Sure. I don't know about tips because, of course, it varies by industry and the timing also matters. But maybe anecdotally, I can say one of the things that confronted me when I moved across to Europe was this major disproportion between productivity and available capital. So what I mean by that is working hours were much lower than what I was used to back home. You know, an average contract is anything from, 30 to 32 hours. It's not a standard 40 hours that you're expected to work. The Netherlands is known to have this very good work-life balance. In fact, I would say it's more over-indexing on the life than the work part of things. But the capital is there, right? There's opportunity to work and to make money. I think coming from a very competitive market like South Africa, to me, it looks like South Africans have a very high work ethic relative to that of the international market. And it goes back to, this has a historical economic context to it. But, to put it simply, we've just had to work harder to have less, actually. So that works in our favor, actually, in a market where we seem a little bit more hungry. We've got more to offer.
Yeah.
So in that space, that helps us sort of differentiate and get things done.
Yeah. Elsa?
I would add as well, though, I've been saying this a lot lately, that your network really is your net worth. So, or net worth is your network, rather, meaning it's really about who you know and who you can get connected to. I had this chat, now yesterday for me. One of my friends moved out here that I grew up with, and we were talking about how hard it is to get ahead, to get a good job, and when you're at a certain age, wanting to earn a certain type of income. It's really helpful to do your homework. Ask your friends, ask people back home, who do they know, who can they connect you to get in the room? Because it's actually it's very difficult in the US. Obviously, now there's a lot of visa issues going on. But besides that, the working life here, it's very tough to get into certain industry. Like Tumelo said, it really depends which industry. But if you can find someone in your industry in another country that can just give you an interview and give you a heads up and a foot in the door, then that's going to be your best bet. It's my biggest tip for anyone that's wanting to work overseas in the current climate of the world. So that's my only tip that I would put there.
Okay. Lindile, for you, any tips for anyone? Maybe perhaps thinking about Dubai and maybe moving there?
Yeah, Clement, it's very tricky, man, because these days it's about network.
Yeah.
So if you don't know anyone, it's very hard to come to this side. And I don't encourage anyone to come to this side without knowing anyone, because it's very, very difficult. So you gotta have a connection. Without connection, this side is very, very hard. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want people to risk their lives like coming here. But connection is the only tools that you can use.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tulani?
Sure. Clement, I think the first thing for me is I think obviously the unemployment rate in South Africa is already a bit of alarming in terms of, job opportunities, and that really triggers thinking that, South Africans should really be thinking about exploring opportunities outside South Africa at times, because sometimes the environment is too limiting from a career point of view, growth point of view. And, I think most of the time, it's obviously just limiting our minds and not reaching out and accessing information, for example, internet, LinkedIn, some job opportunities that get offered. I know a lot of accountants and a lot of lawyers that come into the UK. Even though, the British citizens, some of them obviously leave the country because of, sometimes the cost of living, and they leave to Dubai, to some of the countries that kind of have a tax less less taxing kind of cost in terms of that. But I would say definitely, I think tips would be find your niche in terms of what you do, in terms of the skills that you can offer. And I think what like Tumelo said, we definitely come with a bit of ability to maneuver our way as South Africans, because most of the time we deal with unique problems. I mean, I worked back in South Africa and I used to support Nigeria, Mozambique in the aviation space. And it used to be very interesting because we face the most unique conundrums, but and then when I moved over, it was not such a hassle to to travel around Europe and solve some of the issues that were whether it was infrastructure and things like that were happening. So I think South Africans really have a good experience when they actually experience work in the country and then come abroad as well.
Okay.
Hi, Clement. Yeah, it's Bongani Hlatshwayo. So based in South Australia in Adelaide. I've been out of the country for 3 years now. Yeah, look, man, it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes you miss home, you miss people, and yeah, it's not easy. But you know what? I think sometimes we just have to adjust. And now I've learned a new sport called footy, so it keeps me going. And sometimes the time difference kills me because I have to watch, the Orlando Pirates versus Chiefs at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But I gotta do it because this is who I am and I love it, man. Sure.
Yeah.
Nice show, by the way.
Thank you. That's amazing. Someone says, Kellet on Twitter says, Clement, the lady in Seattle still sounds South African. Weird that she hasn't picked up any accent after so long. Dumelo, accent-wise, I'll come to you, Elsa. Like, did you expect it to? Because, I don't know. How do the Dutch people in Amsterdam sound? Like, you haven't picked up anything?
No, and that's because embarrassingly my Dutch isn't as great as it could be after so much time. Afrikaans definitely helped in high school. I was at my peak at Trappa van Vergelijking, but it hasn't quite gotten me to where I need to be. So no, I don't think my accent has changed at all. Most of the time I just speak English anyway. That was one of the reasons I moved to Amsterdam, is because most people speak English. But I must say, what has kept me in tune with my mother tongue is maintaining relationships with my family.
Yeah.
The moment I, don't keep up with my family and talk and call and whatnot, things change. Like Sesotho Saka diminishes a little bit, and that's something I am definitely not willing to give up. So it's actually quite a conscious decision and a deliberate effort to ensure that I maintain who I am. I think most of us South Africans being abroad right now is just a reflection of where our country is at in its maturity and growth. We signify just a different way of developing as a country, and it just requires some level of resilience. It's not easy, but it also comes with actually fortifying who you are. And getting stronger and getting clear on where you come from. And even though you're on different lands, you still know exactly where your roots are, while allowing yourself to flourish as far and as wide as you can, given that opportunity.
Yeah, Elsa, it's not a lot of people who are in the US for 10 years or so, and then they still haven't changed, like their accent hasn't been influenced. Some people go to the US for 2 weeks and they come back and they say napkin instead of a serviette. So how have you done it?
I said a prayer. I said, God, please, I love my people. I love my accent. I don't want to change this thing. So it literally started with a prayer. I'm very fortunate that I get to go home a lot. I just came back to the US after 6 months at home. So yeah, I speak to my family, like Tumelo says, a lot. And then I have a community here as well. We Skinner and Afrikaans and Vernac and all that stuff. So it all helps. But I will say, when I'm in a room with Americans, I've subconsciously rolled that R. Can I have some water, please? It does come out when I'm late. I just don't want to repeat myself for sure.
Yeah.
But it is, like Tumelo said, very intentional, conscious decision. So
Yeah.
that's me.
Tulani, are we gonna hear your accent changing soon?
I don't know, Clement. The thing is, I think it's the environment that people work in. It's the amount of people. Like, for an example, I work in a very environment where I think I'm the only, I would say, African guy that works in that team, and most of them, even if they are black, they will still be British. So yeah, but I think remaining authentic is quite crucial. It's important. I think being yourself, and I think what Tumelo has said, and I think the uniqueness you bring in the room as well, in terms of like how you lay out your views and things like that. And people are very appreciating, and I think it's a big thing on diversity and inclusion. So I think it's just being yourself, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I've enjoyed this chat so much. Thank you so much for making time. Tumelo, Sitlaba, Lindile, Mkobela. Tumelo is in the Netherlands, Lindile in Dubai, Elza in the US, in Seattle, Tilani, all the way from London in the UK. Thank you so much, guys, for making time for us.
The thrill of the chase comes with great rewards in the legendary Hollywood Bets Spinner Zonke Jackpot Race. Join the run, spin selected habanero slots for fun, and stand a chance to win a share of 3 million rand. Feel the rush in the race for riches when you bet 2 rand or more every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and you can jump with Jackpot Joy. Take on the challenge and discover endless opportunities to win big. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Walk with Purpose, Walk with Pride, Walk the Talk with 702 this July, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. 702 Walk the Talk hits the streets on Sunday, the 27th of July. And this year, we're walking loud, proud, and full of Mzansi magic. Expect djembe drums, brass bands, dancers, stilt walkers, even surprise appearances by Zola and Ishmael along the way. Thanks to Made in Mzansi. Choose your distance from the strong 8-kilometer, 6.7 kilometer for Mandela Month, or you can choose the gentle, family-friendly 4-kilometer stroll. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for kids under 12. You can register now on primemediaplus.com. Let's walk with memory, with music, and with meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
If you want to know about the heart and art of jazz, look no further than the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, a grand ensemble of over 50 world-class acts across 4 stages for 3 whole days. That's right, from the 26th, 27th and 28th of September. The Sandton Convention Center will be demure and sophisticated as the fine Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 takes you deep into the heart, the art and splendor of jazz. Take me there. Book your seat via Ticketmaster now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is visiting the family of his predecessor David Mabuza to pay his condolences. The former deputy president died after a short illness yesterday at a Sandton hospital. Mabuza's family has released a statement this morning saying he dedicated his entire life to improving the socio-economic conditions of many South Africans. Alfara Mushwana has more.
The late Deputy President David Mabuza's home, located in a quiet and suburban neighborhood, is busy today as family and friends arrive to pay their respects. His successor, Paul Mashatile, has been meeting with the family and reflecting on Mabuza's life and legacy as a dedicated struggle veteran. Mashatile says when he took over as deputy president, Mabuza ensured a smooth and peaceful transition.
But we will continue to build on what he started. Many projects in Mpumalanga. I've already said that there's a lot of good work he did when he was deputy president. That I'm now dealing with myself.
He says they were inseparable and spent some of his final years discussing ways to revive the ANC. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Bryanston.
Mabuza has also been remembered for playing a key role in reviving the political careers of some in the ANC. Among those who've expressed gratitude for his impact is International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola, who credits Mabuza for shaping his political journey. At an ANC gathering in 2017, in front of thousands, Mabuza held Lamola's hand and declared him the future of the ANC. This is a moment that Lamola describes as a turning point in his political career.
Yeah, he did shape the political lives of many young people in the ANC. During his time as a leader of the ANC in Mpumalanga, he was very close to the youth league. We had our up and downs with him, but like in any other political struggle, there are relations that goes well, and sometimes you find each other again.
The foreign policy of the Government of National Unity continues to be a thorny matter, with parties like the DA and FF Plus accusing the ANC of foisting its own policy on the coalition government. Delivering the budget for international relations in the National Assembly yesterday, Minister Lamola denied that this is the case and said that the GNU stance is shaped by key national documents and the statements of intent of the coalition partners. Lamola said while the DA is free to travel abroad on independent international missions, it can only represent itself and not the country. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
The MK, EFF, Action SA and the ACDP are among the opposition parties which have called out government for what they view as hypocrisy in its foreign policy. The DA's Emma Powell said the country did not have a foreign policy that represents all South Africans.
It is a foreign policy for the ANC's friends. And the ANC now need to make peace with the fact that their time is up.
But Minister Ronald Lamola hit back, saying the DA cannot decide whether it wants to be part of the GNU, prefers being in opposition, or somewhere in between.
We are not doing anything that you did not sign for. In the statement of intent, when we deal with our human rights outlook, whether it's in Gaza, it is part of the statement of intent. Whether it's in relations to Ukraine and Russia, where we have played the role to bring back the children.
Powell said the DA would continue on its missions abroad to shore up trust in the government, while Bosse leader Musi Maimane said it was high time an ambassador to the United States is appointed. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Federal President of the Republic of Austria, van der Bellen, has arrived in South Africa for a 4-day working visit. This is a historic moment as it marks the first time an Austrian head of state visits the country. Van der Bellen will be welcomed by President, or has already been welcomed by the President at the Union Buildings in Pretoria, where they will later host a joint media briefing. Tabiso Goba has more.
Trade relations between South Africa and Austria have been described as mutually beneficial by both nations. Last year, South Africa exported 617 million euros worth of goods to Austria, while Austria imported 661 million euros worth of goods to South Africa. The presidency says the working visits will focus on improving the bilateral and economic ties between the two countries. This includes sectors like the arts, agriculture and energy. The Austrian delegation will be part of a business forum this afternoon with the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Park Stau. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Gold is trading at $3,343.08 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.68 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.48 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 South. This is just as you approach the Kilulis interchange, and that's due to an accident while traveling on the Mike 1 North. Some delays as you approach the Crown interchange.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Deputy President Paul Mashatile has visited the family of his predecessor David Mabuza to pay his condolences.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, Sanbonani, Bonjour. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Every Friday, we do our relationship feature at just after the news at 11 o'clock. So let's get right into it.
Relationship issues
Relationship talk.
on 702.
Do you consider yourself to have emotional maturity in your relationship? Oh, let me ask it this way. Who has emotional maturity in your relationship, in your marriage? Is it you? Is it your partner? And how do you measure that? Today we're talking about the importance of emotional maturity and regulation in relationships, because it is crucial to have emotional maturity. It's crucial for building and sustaining healthy, fulfilling relationships. And it enables individuals to understand and manage their own emotions. It enables them to respond to the challenges with calm and clarity, engage in open, respectful communication. So when you have emotionally mature partners, they are better equipped to empathize with one another. They're better equipped to handle disagreements without resorting to blame or withdrawal, and creating a safe space for vulnerability and connection. So we're going to talk about how you can even cultivate that emotional maturity, right? Because an emotionally immature person often never takes responsibility for their actions, which can then lead to conflict and ultimately the relationship breakdown. So when both individuals bring emotional awareness, if both of you bring self-regulation to that relationship, then you're strengthening the bond between you guys, and you're enabling the partnership to grow through life's inevitable ups and downs with resilience, with compassion and trust. So do you think you lack emotional maturity, or do you have a partner who lacks emotional maturity? How has that affected your relationship? Give us a call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. I'd like to hear your experiences. Nkateko Ndala Magoro is a counseling psychologist who's going to guide us through this conversation. Nkateko, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to the listeners. And I hope we can find this very important topic, very vital topic, useful in today's conversation.
Yeah. Let's maybe start with, how do we define a relationship where, people are emotionally mature, and there's emotional regulation as well? So what do we mean when we talk about someone who's emotionally mature and is able to regulate their emotions?
We mean different things, but what it boils down to, it's basically being able to manage and respond empathetically, mainly to experiences in a very healthy way. So when we talk about healthy way, you made an example of somebody who's emotionally immature, withdrawing. That is not an emotionally healthy way. So it's basically responding in a constructive way, especially when there are intense emotions, and so that then, arguments and violence does not become precipitated in that conversation. And then you also highlighting emotional maturity. It's basically understanding and also being able to process and express emotions, but also taking accountability. I think that you also highlighted in your introduction, Clement, to saying owning your own feelings and not blaming your partner, because oftentimes when things are happening to us or when we have experiences in our relationship, it's very, very, very easy, and we can be quick to judge and blame the other person. So that's how we see it. It's the ability to express, but in a way that you also take responsibility for what has happened.
So how much does the success of a relationship then depend on emotional maturity? Does it help when at least one partner is emotionally mature, or you need both to be in order for the relationship to succeed? Or can the other at least hold the fort for the entire relationship?
That will be tiring. I think that will be exhausting for one partner to hold the fort for the entire relationship. But there has been many studies that point to the fact that relationships where people are mature, they have a 25% more likelihood to stay intact, to be healthy. So, couples who practice emotional regulation report 25% greater relationship satisfaction. And also pointing out again to literature, it shows us that 69% of conflicts in couples is perpetual, but emotional mature helps partners to manage or even eliminate those issues. So what we're talking about also is not avoidance. So when a person is regulated emotionally, it helps them prevent unnecessary conflicts, basically. And we're not talking about avoidance here. Avoidance is where you are not confronting issues. Emotionally regulated is where you see the issue, but you approach them in a mature way. And that is why you are putting emotional regulation and emotional maturity in the same sentence or the same question. But no, one person cannot hold the fort for both. In fact, it has also been shown over long periods of time that when one partner is growing, there is a gap that they create, and that gap also brings that dissatisfaction in a relationship, and where another person, if they have been verbalizing and they've been expressing themselves over and over time, sometimes they don't exit the relationship, but they become despondent, they become cold, they exit the relationship emotionally, but not with their bodies.
Oh, got you. So how do you cultivate it then? So for someone who is out there listening to us and they're wondering, okay, my partner, my spouse has complained that I'm emotionally immature and I don't know how to regulate my emotions. Where do they begin in as far as cultivating that is concerned?
I think seeking help, it's very important, but more than seeking help, it's expressing it, to say, I have been, I've been hearing you giving me this feedback, and I want to also learn or hear you correctly, that I have the right information. So seeking help through therapy, through coaching, or even just, books and podcasts, they can help. We need to also understand, because usually people who are emotionally mature will say, I am that way, or I grew up that way. So in my household, this was done, or this is what I saw being exhibited. But we need to understand that our brain are quite plastic, so we can learn better emotional habits at any age. It does not matter that this is how you were raised, and I, it's that is why I say this conversation is very important, Clement, because a lot of people did not grow up seeing emotional maturity model. They saw people sulking, they saw people walking out, they saw people breaking things, they saw people talk over another person or yelling, and thought that was normal, but it is not normal. So meaning that you can seek help and give the feedback to your partner first, to say, this is what you have been saying, and this is, am I hearing you clearly? This is, because sometimes we can also miss the mark. That's why I want us to feedback with our partners first, because you can miss the mark in thinking that this is what your partner wants you to work on while you are missing it completely. And I've seen it in therapy over and over again, where the other person just even shakes their head to be like, "Oh, this is hopeless because you're not even getting me."
Yeah. So how do you help someone else then who is emotionally immature? So if you are the partner that probably is emotionally immature, how do you help your spouse or your partner who isn't? Because I find that I would imagine the problem sometimes, Katako, is that the ones who think they're emotionally mature don't even know how to raise it with a partner. They call them names. Yeah, you are immature. You can't even regulate your emotions, and that doesn't really help the next person want to even do better because they are always being attacked and targeted. So what's the best way to, hold your partner's hand and help them realize when they're being emotionally mature?
Yeah, I want to even say, by you, the other partner that thinks you are emotionally mature, by you calling them names, that already is a sign of emotional
Luena, you are
maturity. So
still.
maybe the whole relationship, exactly, so maybe the whole relationship is toxic in itself. So we need to look at that. But you can't force growth. We need to be clear about that. We really cannot force growth, especially for one person who's working on themselves and the other one isn't. But communicate how it affects the relationship. I think that is important. Don't communicate on how it affects you, because if the other person is still invested in the relationship and they know that you not growing and you not maturing emotionally, it affects the relationship negatively. So you can say things like, "I'm working on how I express myself. I would like us both to grow in this area," for example. Or, I have just learned that my trauma has led me to yelling all the time or being defensive all the time. And that is a big thing. And it's helping me to relate better with you and not come to you with defense. And that has been helpful for me and for our relationship. And, I would like for us to grow in that area. So pose it in a way that it is an advantage to the relationship and not necessarily that it's about you, because the other person may be seeing it as you are saying it so that it benefits you. But if they are invested in the relationship and they see that this is good for the relationship, I think it's no-brainer, unless they really don't want the good from the relationship.
And isn't that the issue also, that, ultimately it's about communication, right? Sometimes we just don't know how to communicate things in marriages, in relationships. And sometimes we just don't communicate at all. So even when we are upset about something, we have been socialized to think, sulk about it, or the withdrawal symptom. Well, you're just withdrawing from the whole situation, but you're not really confronting it and sitting down. What do you think is the issue in as far, especially when it comes to conflict resolution, where you start attacking each other instead of dealing with the issue? So what's your advice for our listeners who think, every time I try to raise things, my partner thinks I attack them? So how do I raise issues in a way where we get to deal with the issue and not necessarily the person? So in other words, you don't then call me names, or you are this, you are emotional, you are a narcissist, you are this. You're more like, the actions have affected me this way, or have affected a relationship this way. Because I don't think that a lot of the couples speak like that, which is what then leads to the conflict.
Definitely. And a lot of people walk on eggshells so many times because they are afraid that things are gonna, explode. The conflict is gonna get out of proportion. But that also, to me, brings to the factor of, is the relationship in itself healthy? Generally, because as a partner who wants to express themselves and you are afraid to do that, it means that there is no safety in the relationship for you to be able to do that. If maybe you know that you're going to be yelled at, or there's going to be silent treatment, or you're going to be blamed or stonewalled, or the individual is going to withdraw. It really says a lot about the relationship. And to that kind of a relationship where one person, so let's say the emotionally mature person, is unable to express because they are afraid of how their partners are going to respond, it's a relationship that needs a lot of help. So you cannot do it. So there is no safety, firstly. So meaning that it cannot happen between the two of you without mediator or a facilitator of the conversation or help from somebody who is mature or has got a better outlook on what you are on about. So the fact that you are unable to express, it means the relationship in itself is not safe, which then means we need to get another person to give us a perspective or to even create safety in that relationship. So that's where I will start. And then the second layer where then I feel I am okay to express is to even qualify what I'm going to talk about, to say, this is what I want to speak about. Please hear me out. I am not pointing fingers. I'm not blaming you. I am not saying that I'm the better one in the relationship. If you want to point out something, you are welcome to do so. But these are the few things that I have noted, and then you list them. What also helps, Clement, which is a good practical way of approaching how we want to express ourselves, is writing down what you want to talk about, because then that helps to diffuse the intense emotion that can be charged in you just bringing up things, just bringing out files. So writing down what you're gonna be talking about and say, I want to go through this list and I wish that you do not interrupt me until I finish. But if you feel it's too hot for you, let me know so that I can pause. Maybe you want to take a walk, or we cook together, or we listen to music. But I want us to come back, because I also realize that whenever we start, we do not, we don't finish what we started. So those are the two layers. Number one, where we can create safety. And if the safety is not in the relationship, to seek external help. And then to formalize the expression by writing down what you want to speak about, and also qualifying what you are going to be speaking about and how you are going to be speaking about it before you even talk.
011-883-0702. Let's hear from you now. What your experience is. How have you navigated a partner or a relationship where a partner is emotionally immature? Or maybe you are the emotionally immature one. Because I do think sometimes we don't get to diagnose ourselves like that, because we think we're perfect little angels, but we're quick to diagnose other people, right? So have you been honest about yourself in your actions, in your relationship, in your marriage? Or have you observed from your partner or your spouse their emotional immaturity, and how has that affected the relationship? Please give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Clement, as always, great topics. I think on this issue in terms of emotional immaturity, this is that part of actually becoming a mature adult. I often think of your emotional maturity and developing and working on that as your gift that keep on giving across generations. I'll give you an example, from my own family, people who come from extreme poverty, and that affected their emotional growth. My parents couldn't cope emotionally with conflict, with their own challenges in their marriage, and they passed those problems on to us. So basically 3 generations, due to circumstances, people didn't develop emotionally. Hardship often leads to that. But unfortunately, it means the next generation and the next generation continue to struggle with that. So I think if for anybody, it's important that they have a successful, healthy family and that they give that gift to their children. It's very hard to work on this in yourself because it's not something that comes naturally, but think of it as the gift for future generations, to work on that emotional maturity, learn how to fight, pass that on to your children so they know how to handle conflict and they can have healthy relationships. Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Learn how to fight. How do we unlearn? Because that's another thing, right? In Kateko, as you said earlier, some of the ways the way we fight, the way we deal with issues, that's adopted and taken from, the socialization, what we picked up from our own parents or our elders or our neighbors, whatever you witnessed as growing up. How do we then begin to unlearn that? Because how intentional can you be about unlearning stuff like that?
Sure. And To me, it boils down to what are you aiming? And the caller told us, what she spoke about is something for generational. So if you are aiming that down the line, you want healthier marriages or healthier relationships in your generation, you are going to be invested. So knowing your why is very important. And I think knowing your why drives you. But if you're seeing it as, oh, this is just to please the next person, or it's because she told me to do so, or he told me to do so, or he threatened to leave me if I am not maturing, then it's not a strong enough motivator for change. It's going to be temporary because you are doing it for that, but it's not going to be modeled generationally. And then the how to, it's taking a step back and saying, what needs to happen? What caused this in the first place? Because you might find that it's not, you are reacting and acting from the subconscious, from the automated responses that you saw that were modeled to you, and not necessarily that this is how you want to react, this is how you want to do things. So the causation of that is also important to interrogate, to dig into, to explore. That also you can have somebody take your hand and journey with you to help you to unpack that a little bit further. And then being open-minded about being teachable and not saying this is how it has always been done, or you found me this way, or I am going to end up like this and nothing can change. Change is possible. Actually, the only constant thing in life is change.
Absolutely. It's 11:30 now. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines with Mbali Dlamini. When we come back, I'll take more of your calls on 011-883-0702. I'll take your WhatsApps as well as you share your experiences with us. Maybe you've got a question for our guest, Nkateko, who is a counseling psychologist, about how to deal with maybe a scenario in your marriage, in your relationship that involves emotional immaturity. Keep them coming. We'll start with those when we return after the headlines. Bali, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Deputy President Paul Mashatile says his predecessor, David Mabuza, will always be remembered for his work with the people. Mashatile says emerging leaders in the ANC should follow Mabuza's example of leadership. He was speaking in Bryanston this morning while visiting the Mabuza family to pay his respects. The former deputy president died after a short illness yesterday at a Sandton hospital. Austrian President Alexander van den Bellen is having talks with President Cyril Ramaphosa on day one of a 4-day working visit. This is a historic moment as it marks the first time an Austrian head of state visits the country. Van den Bellen was welcomed by Ramaphosa at the Union Buildings this morning. And the Pretoria High Court in the Senzo Meyiwa trial will be spending the day in an in loco inspection where one of the accused claims he was assaulted by police. The defense was granted this request by Judge Rata Mokgwatleng. Heavily guarded, the 5 accused in this matter and the court are now being transported to the location. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N3 south towards Bedfordview, we've got delays due to an accident near the Kilulis interchange. The delays are as you come out of Linksfield Road, while on the N12 west, there's queuing traffic between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. If you're heading towards the CBD, do expect delays on the M1 north between Boysons Road and Carr Street. There's also queuing traffic in the southerly direction of this route at the double-decker section. This is due to roadworks that are taking place along that route. I'm seeing some delays along the Golden Highway. This is between the N1 and Union Avenue. This is in the Devland area, so please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. If you are traveling in the city of Tshwane, some delays on the N1 South. This is between the Linwood Road exit all the way to Rigel Avenue. Please keep it safe on the roads. I am Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabo Jali will continue walking the talk with you from the top of the hour onwards.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
do investigators know when they might have touched a nerve, possibly they get a particular reaction to an inquiry, or information is uncovered as they go about their work? This could get rough because I think we've got to the bottom of this.
Nature about training, we do a risk assessment before you engage. But while you're doing investigation, you've also, if you get that feeling, you do get. It's people that doesn't want to work with you, doesn't want to provide you information. You might get threatened, you might get harassed.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Kickstart your small business with a starter bundle from Nedbank. Enjoy free transactions for 6 months, including free cash deposits and withdrawals and a free debit card with easy digital access and a dedicated banker to guide you along every step of the way. Open a Nedbank starter bundle with SA's best bank for SMEs. Apply on the Money app today. Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Rise to the challenge in Betway's Climb and Conquer with 50 million rand in prizes to be won, including 8 brand new cars. Climb our leaderboards until 27 July with bets on sports, slots, table, crash games, and more. Make the weekly top 10 at any point for a chance to drive away in a VW Polo, Toyota Hilux double cab, or High Ace. Plus, weekly leaderboard winners will earn a guaranteed 100,000 rand cash. Only at Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to participate. For gambling counseling, call SARGF on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp 076 675 0710.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
As the official retail partner of the Springboks, Pick n Pay is proud to back the box and give you the chance to be the ultimate smart supporter with Pick n Pay ASAP. Money or the box on 702. WhatsApp your name, ID number, and the word ASAP to 072 702 1702. You could face the ultimate choice, a mystery Springbok supporter prize, or Pick n Pay ASAP vouchers worth up to 2,000 rand. It's time to show your box spirit. Money or the box with Pick n Pay ASAP. Friday on 702 Drive with John Perlman. T's and C's on primemediaplus.com.
Relationship issues?
Relationship Talk
on 702.
24 minutes before 12 o'clock. Emotional maturity and regulation in relationships and marriages is what we're discussing this morning on our relationship feature with Nkateko Ndala Mahoro, who is a counseling psychologist. Want to hear from you now. How do you fight? You know, there's some people who they become different people whenever there's conflict. How do you navigate that? Is there anyone in the relationship? Is it you? Is it your partner who often demonstrates emotional immaturity? And how do you deal with it without necessarily calling out the partner and calling them names? Because also that just leads to more conflict. Just telling people you're immature, you're a narcissist, you're this. So we need to learn also, because as Nkateko said, if you are doing that, then maybe you yourself is also emotionally immature. Sbu, you're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Clement?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I'm all right. I am currently in that marriage. Both our emotional immaturity is just out of the window. I've gone to therapy, but I'm sitting with a wife that does not sit down and also do some sort of a self-introspection. Like, just recently, I think on Monday, I tried sitting down with her and apologize and asked that we start July on a clean slate, but she insulted me to a point where I said she must move out. You know, the thing is that I also understand that my emotional maturity is also just out the window, because every time when she responds, I also can't keep quiet, as I feel like I'm being triggered by her responses every time when I try to raise an issue that is not sitting well with me. I will just make you an example. I called my parents, so they came. We tried to discuss the issue. I said my part. She decided to just she just decided to storm out of the meeting, to a point whereby she went to lock herself in the room. Her mom is here. My parents are here. To a point where after some time, I even said, okay, fine, the meeting is over. You didn't want to come and sit down and say your issues. Can you please try and cook for the parents before they leave? I had to cook in front of my in-laws and my parents because she did not want to come and assist me or just try to raise how she feels. Like on Monday, I just said to her, okay, let's sit down and see what is it that we can do. What help do we need? Because I've gone to therapy, but every time when she replies to how I want to sort out things and how I want us to deal with both our emotions, it just doesn't sit well because when she replies, I also get triggered.
Yeah,
so
do you guys have kids, Boo?
We don't have kids. It's just me and her. We've been sleeping in separate rooms for 4 weeks now.
Sure. So when she's moved out now, where does she stay?
I do not know. She just left. She never told me. I called the mom, explained to the mom, no, she's moved out. And this and that. The mom wasn't even aware that she moved out. And then only when I explained to the mom that she moved out, the mom then called her. And then she said to the mom, no, I'm staying at a friend. Only the mom called her to say, no, I'm at a friend's house. And then I was like, okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted you guys to know because South Africa is not safe anymore. I wouldn't know what happens to her, and so I just wanted you guys to be aware.
So, to be clear, did you ask her to move out, or she voluntarily did that?
Immediately on Monday, after we had a fight, that's when I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Please move out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's hear from. Oh yes. Have you guys have never done couples therapy? You never done therapy together?
Never done couples therapy. I've done therapy on my own.
All right.
They've given me things that I need to do, but I just do not know what to do anymore because I feel triggered by the responses. Even when I want to come and just have a normal conversation and say, you know what, let's do this and that. I get triggered every time when she responds to me.
All right, got you. Yeah, Sbu, I'm sorry that you're experiencing this in your marriage right now, man. Ngateko, you've heard what Sbu has had to say and what triggers her, what seems to be the issue. Any advice for them? I must say, what was clear also, Sbu says he has done therapy himself, but they've never done anything together. And I wonder if it's not best for them to have a mediator who's able to manage them both whenever they get triggered. Because now when it's just the two of them, then it becomes being a back and forth.
Clement, you can correct me or maybe even go back to the call, but I think he said they have gone for couples therapy and he has gone by himself. He has gone, but then I think he means that the wife has not gone by herself. Sorry. I would have been interested. I wish we could still have Sbu
we still have Sbu on the line.
But I mean, do we still? Okay. I'm interested, Sbu, in during your individual sessions, because you are saying that you are still triggered by her responses. So have you unpacked what puts you on the edge or what drives you to the edge? And the reason I'm asking this question, her response is not driving you to an edge. And I know that maybe I'm not making sense right now, but whatever messages or whatever happens, whatever happens inside of you makes you to respond. So I know she is, in inverted commas, provoking you, but it's not necessary to respond because we have a choice between how we feel and how we behave. So did you unpack in your individual sessions what could be making you to still respond when you are pressed?
Yes, we have unpacked that with my therapist. But I'm still not getting to a point, I'm still haven't gotten to a point whereby I can let's say for the whole week, not say anything. She would, in inverted commas, like you've just said, provoke me, and then I just keep quiet, and then I will just respond normally, to a point where sometimes I just lock myself in the room so that she does not come and trigger me. But, when, like now on Monday, I came and said to her, you know what, this has been going for quite a long time now. Can we sit down as married partners and just pave the way forward for the both of us? And then the responses that I've gotten just triggered me. I've just always been the one to say, no, let me just be a bigger person. But now on Monday, when I was saying we are starting July, can we just please and be mature, the both of us? Because I've realized that I've also made mistakes, But the responses also just triggered me to a point whereby I was like, you know what, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So that is important. How we respond is important, because we are going to be triggered in life in general. And what I'm also acknowledging is the emotions, you feeling unheard, you feeling unseen, you feeling betrayed, whatever emotions are, they are always legitimate. How we react is the game changer in terms of how things are going, what the outcome of things. And I'm not necessarily putting a blame on you, but I think what one of the words or the sentences that you can post to your wife, maybe not verbally, but by text, is to say, I'm wondering from how you have reacted if you still are invested in this marriage or if you still want this marriage. And if you do, please come up with 2 or 3 list of things that we can do to salvage or to build this marriage. So just a text and not verbally, so that you are not triggered. And then you leave it there.
Yes, I think that's great advice. Nkateko, thank you for that. Sbu, thank you, man. Thank you so much for calling us, being brave enough to share your story. And I really hope and pray that you can find some common ground, find each other somewhere with your wife. Sbu calling us there from Johannesburg. Khotso, you are in Rosebank. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Man, this situation that's just been described now, it's quite a lot. Anyway, I was triggered by no, I was not triggered. I was like, my question came from where you were having an exchange with the doctor, and then somebody then, between the two of you, said, let's say somebody calls you emotionally immature, and I thought, perhaps maybe wouldn't that actually flare up emotions? Because, I heard you also now, like as you were kind of placing or maybe putting the question to Sue, was that it's become trendy for people to use labels. Before it used to be someone is cold, someone is, stonewalling or a narcissist and things like that. And mind you, the people who are saying those things are not even trained in the subject, So, and then automatically, if somebody then is called that, then they go to a different place. Maybe they feel triggered, they want to respond, but this is unfair. So what I'm asking myself, and I liked what the doctor just said now about maybe communicating how it makes you feel. But I want to formally ask as to what would be the better way of communicating that? Because sometimes also what happens is that, well, let me just be honest, I've been at the receiving end of these labels, right? And you will then say, but let's talk to the facts of the matter. And you find that the person you are exchanging with, they are not interested in the facts, or they're interpreting the facts in their own way, So that tends to be the...
I got you, Khotso, yeah. That name calling, Nkateko, name calling, does that help? Because if you're really interested in solving the problem, you calling your partner or your wife, your husband, you're a narcissist, you're emotionally immature, you are cold, you're useless. That doesn't help. In fact, you must ask yourselves questions about your own immaturity. So Khotso is asking, what's the best way then to raise, even when you think someone is emotionally immature, what's the best way to talk to them about it?
Yeah. And it boils down to intention. I often say to couples, so you'll find a couple saying, I did this because they did this to me, or I became cold, or I started walking away or whatever because they did this. Or even the better one, I like this, and I often look at clients and they can see that Anyway, so usually they will say, I wanted to hurt them the way that they have hurt me. And I said, but they are not you. So they will not feel what you are feeling. So oftentimes that comes from hurt. And we need to then unpack what is the hurt, what is the disappointment, what is the frustration, what is the anger behind the words. Because the words, they are meant to do something to the next person. And but you find that, some people, they think that is the intention, to make them hurt so that they can empathize with their situation, to say, all right, by you doing this to me, I'm going to hurt you with this word so that you can feel what it felt like you doing that. But it does not help. So at the end of the day, it's what is your intention? If you are collaborating towards a common goal of a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, a satisfying marriage, a satisfying relationship, you will not want to do the exchange. So I will say to Kodzo, unpack with your wife to say, behind you calling me names, what is your intention? How are you feeling? Is it because you are angry, you are frustrated, you feel like you can't come through to me? Because you find that maybe they think that they have been speaking for a while, but they are not coming through, or they are not being heard. So sitting down with her to say, and not necessarily the first step of saying, when you say this, it makes me feel this way, or, your words impact me this way, but to come to her world and say, when you are saying these words, what are the intentions behind the words? Maybe they will say, it's because I want you to feel the way that I felt, but, we are not the same. And is there other ways in which you can get the message through to me? It's insulting.
Yes, play the ball, not the man. Let's go to Lerato now, who's calling us from Linwood. Lerato, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And also to the listeners, and also Kateko. I'm in a marriage whereby, I'm going to disclose my age. I'm 54. My husband is 60. And we are still like in the relationship like young ones, whereby unfortunately our relationship is our marriage is a distance, because my husband works in the US and I'm here in South Africa. And my husband only comes maybe twice in a year, because I was still doing my studies. And now I graduated. Now I have to join him that side. But I'm so reluctant about that. Because my husband is that person who likes to yell at the person. He doesn't want to hear even before you can finish up, I can say one word and he'll say 25 words. And sometimes I get so embarrassed. You might find that I'm with friends. Even if when you say I'm with friends, he doesn't want to listen, then he'll just go on and on and on and on. And people will say to me, but why your husband is like this? Why your husband is yelling at you like this, like a child? And I end up one time saying to him that, you know what, because I Googled, because I was so shocked about the way his behavior. And I realized that he's got this kind of a narcissist people behavior. So I said to him that, you know what, you behave like a narcissist. I started telling him like that, trying to make him aware about the way he speaks to me. He speaks to me like a small child. And when he starts saying those words, like he starts staring at me, he'll tell me that you are diabolical, you have mental issues. And you know what, he's not saying those things only to me, even to his kids. Even to the previous marriage, the mother of his kids. I remember now, recently he just blocked her daughter. He brought her daughter from Jamaica. He left her daughter with me. And he was supposed to come back in Feb. And he never came back. And the document of the daughter expired. So I ended up taking the child to the embassy. He didn't want to communicate with the child. He was yelling at the child. And the good thing about this, the daughter said to me, she's 16 years old. She said to me, Mommy, let me tell you something. To deal with my father, you need to record him, because he is that kind of a person. He'll say things, then tomorrow, and he'll change. He says, no, I've never said that. You're diabolical. You have mental issues. And I said to him, you know what? I think maybe we need to get a professional sake, counseling. He says, no, you must go. I'm not mad. You are the one who's crazy.
Sure.
So before I used to yell at him back, but because of the family that I'm coming from, you are not allowed to back chat to your husband or to yell. Then I realized that, you know what, now I'm getting out of line.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, the best thing is for me to keep quiet. So what I do, I'll just ignore his calls and I'll say, no, sorry, I didn't, I missed your call. And what were you saying? And then he'll send me to say, and he's a medical professional, someone. He's a medical doctor. Then he said to me, no, I'm busy with a patient. And then he'll start texting. So I prefer to text than to talk to him, because even if maybe you want to raise your concern, you'll never hear you, because he'll start yelling, screaming.
Oh, Lerato, I'm sorry. Oh, sounds so terrible. You deserve to be heard too. In that marriage, yeah. Nkateko, just quickly, some advice for Lerato, then I'll take Theo in Midrand.
Sorry, Melerato, for hearing this terrible experience, to put it the least. But I'm also hearing that, and it's a statement but it says we teach people how to treat us. And I'm hearing that you are already starting to teach him how to treat you by not answering his call. Already you are sending a message to say, because you yell at me, you call me names, I'm not going to hear you out in that condition, because I'm hearing that when he comes back to you, he comes back being humble. So meaning that you are the one who will need to teach him how to treat you, how he behaves, how he is, his personality. If he wants to change, if he does not want to change, that's up to him. It's not your baby to raise. He is not your boy to raise, to have better treatment of women, but you need to treat him, you need to teach him how to treat you, because you cannot be the receptor of all this abusive behavior. That's abuse, basically, Melerato.
It is, definitely is. Oh, Gateko, unfortunately, we're out of time. But I have to thank you. I think, given the number of calls we're getting on this, I haven't even gone to the WhatsApps. I think we should maybe do part 2 of this conversation, just to hear from our listeners, and maybe you can advise on how they can deal with their situations. Thank you for making time for us. Gateko Ndala Magoro is a counseling psychologist. Someone has asked Nkateko how they can get a hold of you. A few people on the WhatsApp line here,
We are Well Life Hub, and we are found on all the socials. So Well Life, the L, the well for, but anyway, it's complicated. Sorry, why did I make it so complicated? Anyway, you can just Google my name, Nkateko Ndala Magoro, and all the details are going to come up. But we are Well Life Hub, Psych Inc. It's the psychology practice, and we are all on socials, and we have a website as well. But by Googling my name, you will find all our contact details.
Okay, Well Life Hub. Just also Google Nkateko Ndala Magoro, and that information should pop up. It's now 4 minutes before 12.
Quiet, please.
The Wimbledon experience in Mzansi is back at Amex Tennis Town Monte Casino between 11 and 13 July 2025. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, and more than just strawberries and cream. Buy your tickets now using your Amex card on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets. Amex Tennis Town, the Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi advantage. Tennis is better with Amex.
Everybody loves payday. But every payday comes with a challenge, right? How are you going to make your money last? No stress. Takealot brings you a lot for less. Buy pantry essentials in bulk and save up to 55%. Seriously, it's bulk shopping made simple. Want even bigger savings? Subscribe to Takealot More today for exclusive deals and unlimited free same-day delivery. Download the Takealot app and start your 1-month Takealot More trial today.
Get ready to panda push-up play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 54 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 51 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 3 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Hello, Mandy Wiener.
Hello, Clement Manyathela.
Are you good?
Very good.
What's popping vandag?
So the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, is visiting David Mabuza's home. His predecessor passing away yesterday. We'll bring you some analysis on that as well. We'll also get some response to former President Thabo Mbeki's open letter to the Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuizen. We'll speak to business about 1 year of the GNU. The Senzomiwa trial has gone on an in loco inspection in Vosloorus. And then it's Friday, Clement.
Sports.
And
good things
too.
That's the Midday Report. Thank you for listening to the Friday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. If you're going to Durban July, have fun, enjoy yourself, and be safe. Have a beautiful weekend and day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Deputy President Paul Mashatile says his predecessor, David Mabuza, will always be remembered for his work with the people. Mashatile says emerging leaders in the ANC should follow Mabuza's example of leadership. He was speaking in